Power Ranger Megaforce, by itself, season 1 was honestly not the worst. It was definitely rushed, but it's kind of just the average Ranger season. That quickly fell apart when it had to do the massive task of adapting Gokaiger in only 20 episodes, completely fumbling one of the greatest Sentais of all time and the epic anniversary. But before we can rewrite that, let's rewrite Megaforce. Episode 1, Mega Mission. The episode begins with the War Star arriving to Earth. Vrak talks about how easy it's going to be to conquer this planet given how the population is so lazy and jaded. And Melkor reminds him that he doesn't care about Vrak's status, it's his ship, his rules. At the same time, a mysterious room lights up with the face of a tiki head, and the tiki head tells his robot Datus to find the most creative and energetic people on Earth. Teenagers! Speaking of, we meet one, Troy, who fell asleep on the bus on his first day. Troy's a bit of a bad boy loner who's secretly really nice and caring. But he's definitely a loner, and he doesn't really respect a lot of people who don't respect him, so his parents sent him from Stone Canyon to good old Angel Grove, because Angel Sentai, and also Anniversary. Troy is living with his crazy Uncle Hector, who's a real gruff guy who's gonna straighten him out, and think Dale Gribble kind of character for him. He fell asleep on the bus because his uncle spent all night chanting and screaming about how mutants are coming, and flood the world with pollution with his friends. Starting with Mr. Burley's class, who starts the year off with a thought experiment. Who do you think is going to outlive us?
Insects. They'll survive all the bad stuff we're doing to the environment.
Interesting thought, Emma. What about you, Noah?
Robots powered by perpetual motion engines.
Troy walks in late, and Burley decides to ask him as well.
Us, humans.
How's that, Troy?
If humans work together, we can overcome anything.
Well, now personally, I feel that cryptids like the Sasquatch will outlive us all. But those are all very good answers, especially Troy's, very thought-provoking. After school, the friends Jake and Noah try inviting Troy to Ernie's. It's the same store, different Ernie. Jake's trying to be friendly and buy him some ice cream, but then Troy just ditches them. So that third ice cream is going to go to his crush, Gia. Meanwhile, Emma's taking photos of wildlife, but then one bug turns out to be two really big scary alien bugs. But then everyone gets teleported away to the command center. The lights come on. There should also be a black one of these computer things. Jake and Troy question the ranger keys decorating the place, but then the tiki head talks, revealing his name is Gosei, and he was tasked by his mentor Zordon to guard his entry into the morphing grid, as well as to create a group of Earth defenders. And he reveals to them they've been selected to be the Power Rangers, Megaforce. Jake thinks that's awesome! He grew up hearing stories about the Power Rangers. He's so ecstatic to be one. Everyone else is a little less excited. Troy just doesn't want to be here in general. Emma doesn't like violence. Gia's concerned that her hair is going to get all messed up in the helmet. And Noah doesn't think his moms are going to approve. But Gosei assures them they all have specific talents and interests that will help defend the planet. And they get their first task because the foot soldiers, the Loogies, are attacking, so they get teleported there to deal with it. Emma and Noah aren't really good at it, but luckily Noah's accidentally smacking them around with his laptop. But then Gosei remembers to send them the Gosei Morpher.
Follow my lead!
Gotcha! Dragon, shark, snake, tiger, phoenix.
Go, go, Megaforce! Earth's defenders never surrender!
They eventually figure it out and defeat the monster. Character stuff. Emma and Gia are besties since they were kids. Emma's very into the environment, and Gia is tough and confident and just wants Jake to admit that he has a crush on her, because she definitely knows and definitely likes him back, but wants him to admit it. Jake is the jock of the team, really into soccer. He's really strong and a little dumb, but he's best friends with Noah, who's the smart one. Episode 2, the War Star have these parasitic bat things called Zombats, which cause the monsters to grow. But luckily, Gosei has these header Zords that attach to vehicles and become new Zords and becomes the Gosei Great Megazord. As well in this episode, Troy bumps into the Vice Principal, Mr. Head, who's keeping a close eye on him and his friends. It takes them 5 episodes to realize that Mr. Head is Gosei in a human form. 2 random episodes, and then also in episode 5, Noah's feeling kind of inadequate to everyone else. He's just not as athletic or strong or good at fighting as everyone else is. Troy is also trying to open up to him and be friends, trying to help him work out, but nothing really seems to work out. But Noah eventually realizes it's okay that he might not be as good as everyone else. He's good in other things, and it's okay for him to use his power cards and weapons more than the others. And with that new realization and confidence, he unlocks the Siak brothers, giving them new headers and auxiliary Zords. The next episode, Jake is having a rough time because his off-screen, very overbearing mother doesn't even like him playing soccer. But he's super passionate about soccer, even if the Angel Grove team might not be the best. And he has to take a job where he has to dress up as the Ernie's mascot to get money to get new equipment. And the Monster of the Week has super speed and he feels inferior. But Troy teaches him to never give up. He's got this, which helps him unlock the Landic brothers. And he eventually finally affords some new Connor McKnight soccer equipment. The really good stuff. And he's so confident he very nearly asked Gia out and chickens out last second. Next episode, Vrack accidentally lets a Zombat go early. Emma tries befriending it, but then she gets bit by it and turns giant for most of the episode. Next episode, Ryu's monster suit from Ninja Storm, because actually it's more focused on Dadis going out from the command center, getting electrocuted and losing their memories, exploring the town, with most of the Ranger stuff happening around Dadis, showing the average day in a Rangerverse. Until eventually he gets it back when he gets electrocuted again, everyone meets back up and it's like, what'd you guys do today? Next episode, all the guys in town gain mind control by this bug alien lady. So Gia and Emma have to team up to do it by themselves until eventually they snap them out of it. Because of Emma's leadership and willingness to fight for others, she unlocks the Skyak brothers. As well as Troy defying Ranger tradition, instead of being the red leader, he decides that no one is going to be the leader, we're all equals. 2 episodes later, and Dad is exploring again until he gets stepped on by the new monster. Everyone's like, "Ah, no!" But Noah is here to salvage Data, and using an old arcade game, he's able to make a new Data. And using the new Hyper Header, he's able to combine with Data's to turn into the Hyper Data's Megazord. Troy gets bullied a little throughout the season by Roy, and Roy hates Troy because he's new and he's from Angel Grove's rival city of Stone Canyon, and worse, he's short. But Troy keeps trying to teach him, no matter how small something is, it deserves respect. Troy's real bully is Creepox, a general of the War Star. Eventually they have their final duel. But Creepox chooses to cut it short and grow giant. Everyone has kind of a hard time about it, but Troy's refusal to give up lets them unlock a new card to combine with Dadis and all the Header brothers they just got to make the Hyper Gosei Great Megazord, defeating Creepox. Melkor is frustrated and goes into a cocoon to power up. At the same time, all those lessons that Troy keeps trying to teach Roy finally is sinking in.
Wow, Roy, thanks a lot!
No matter how small, everything deserves respect.
For most of the rest of the season, there's new monsters. Noah and Emma are protesting the construction of this very gross new factory. And Troy in the audience finds out why Emma is so environmentalist is because her dad is owner of this company that's making tons of chemicals and very unsafely just dumping all the byproducts wherever, not caring. But they really should care because all those chemicals created new mutants like Biggs and Bluefur. They see themselves as abominations and want to punish humanity for creating them. Rex seeing a new opportunity for allies is like, how you do, fellow mutants? The Rangers actually have a hard time dealing with a snake mutant until suddenly a new Ranger comes up, introducing himself as Robo-Knight, Earth's Defender. He smacks around the Cobra mutant, and it also turns out he's his own Zord and has his own Megazord, the Gosei Grand Megazord. Everyone thinks he's super cool, but he's very standoffish and wants really nothing to do with everyone. Gosei reveals that he was built thousands of years ago as the ultimate Earth's Defender, and he thought he perished fighting an alien invader. In reality, he was frozen in the Arctic and just now woke up. He's so dedicated to fighting for the environment, he doesn't care about the other Rangers, literally fighting them to get out of his way. He's very narrow in the view of Earth's Defender, as in literally just the Earth and its environment. He doesn't care about humans. Troy seeing himself in the lone Robo-Knight tries really hard fighting for the idea that humans matter. It eventually gets through to him seeing humans caring for each other, and then when he gets captured by the monster in a week, seeing that the Rangers are caring so much to fight for him and against the pollution, he breaks out and he decides to work with the team. It takes him a while to really get used to it, though. Also, Mr. Burley thinks that Bluefur is Bigfoot and trying to take pictures of him, and Hector thinks he's Bigfoot and is trying to hunt him. In one episode, Emma's dad gets kidnapped by the mutant for creating the mutants, and he's very almost mutated himself, but he's rescued by the team. And eventually he starts realizing, yeah, he did screw up, and he agrees to finally apologize for this and clean up the company. It's what Emma's mom would have wanted. They also get the Gokaiger Great-Grand Megazord. Season finale, Melkor finally awakens from his cocoon, announcing himself to the world, smacking around the Rangers, going Ozzy Osbourne on a Zombat, but luckily the Rangers just push him and blow him up with his own ship. Meanwhile, Robo Knight is studying about humanity and learns about music. Halloween Clip Show, featuring a mummy mutant that mind controls people and turns them into mummies. Christmas Clip Show, featuring Robo Knight saving a village in Africa from loogies and telling them the story of the Power Rangers. Till eventually Santa Claus arrives to give the village gifts and take Robo Knight home. They probably fought alongside each other forever ago. None of the Rangers except for Troy and Jake believe that he knows Santa Claus. Season 2, Ultra Megaforce. Noah of Noah's dad's company is trying to work on a cure to stop the mutants. It works on the environment, but the actual mutants only actually get stronger. And using it on themselves, Rangers get their ultra power. Dealing with the mutants, and eventually using their ultra powers on their Zords, turns the entire command center, which is where the headers come out of, turns it into the Ultra Zord. And with that power, they're able to destroy Bluefur and Biggs. And Jake finally gets the confidence to ask Gia out. And Gia's like, about time. Also, when Bluefur fell and blew up, he crushed Vrak. But also, at the same time, a mysterious robot rebuilds Vrak into a cyborg. Vrak's memories are a little scrambled from the process, so the mysterious robot, Metal Alice, becomes sort of the new main villain. And she has a rivalry with Robo Knight, because he's a robot. Why would you work with these humans? Join us. And he's like, no. And they deal with robots, like 3 of the same robots, and maybe these robots aren't so bad, like with Rico. And episode 14, Stay on Track, is going to be a fun episode, because it features both Spike and Bulk. And Uncle Bulk is looking after Spike again for the summer. And Spike is like, I hope we don't accidentally go on the wrong train and end up in another dimension like last summer. I thought you liked the samurai adventure. I did, but like, still. And they go to Ernie's, and Mr. Burley and Hector are there, and they all sit next to each other, and they're talking about Rangers, and they start imagining, I wonder what it would be like if we were Rangers. And in their imagination, Metal Alice is very Flanderlized, like, ha ha ha, I shall destroy the train network because I'm evil. The Mega team arrives, but the new team arrives, and they're super cooler, and they try morphing, and they do, but they kind of, like, Mr. Burley holds the device upside down, and Spike accidentally pulls the full mouth out of the Gosei Morpher. And Bulk's like, well, at least me and Burley chose different colors. And Ernie has to tap out for a second to serve customers. So Hector starts imagining Robo Knight. And Metal Alice is all like, come on, Robo Knight, you're a robot, I'm a robot, I love you, and I hate the Earth and humanity. Why can't you be more like me? And then Hector gives Robo Knight a Spanish accent for no reason. Buenas noches. The Earth is beautiful. Its people are even beautifuler. But you are not. For you, the evil. Donde está? And they fight. Ernie gets back, so they summon the Gosei Jet Headers, saving the train. And then they form the Gosei Great Jet Megazord. And they defeat Metal Alice with Robo Knight. And it's super awesome, and everyone loves them. And Spike's like, yeah, and then the Pink Rangers totally come up and make out with me. And then everyone's like, no, you're just ruined it. No, boo, boo. It's like, what? Come on. 3 more episodes about robots, and then eventually General Mesija arrives, demanding to find Vrak, but he's out fighting the Rangers. And he's nearly destroyed, but Mesija arrives, parting the sea, delivering a message. All hail His Imperial Grace Prince Vrak of House Gills, eldest son and true heir to the Zangyak Empire. Rack starts repeating his name, thinking, what? The Rangers deal with Metal Alice, but then the messenger gets on shore and he just walks through the Rangers, ending up frying their Morphers, demorphing them, but Robo Knight stands in front of them, fighting the messenger, trying really hard to use his cards with his fried Morpher. Earth defenders never surrender, as he keeps repeating, being able to take the blast from the messenger, ending up blasting him back and also blowing up the messenger with his own attack. But the energy also re-energizes the Morphers. But Messenger delivers his actual message to Vrak, saying that the Zanyak are arriving and they shall be here by the eclipse. Your brother Vakar shall be arriving with a great fleet. Tossing the messenger's head in the air and blowing it up. Revealing to the Rangers his memories weren't fried, he only let them to believe they were, so they would underestimate him as he grows his power back. That's where he was in the finale of Season 1, setting up the underwater base and creating Metal Alice as a backup. Staying over Metal Alice's body, revealing that he is the prince, the greatest empire the galaxy's ever seen. Everyone's super confused and remorphs to jump at Vrak, but he decides to show him his true form. The messenger was right, I am the eldest, but my younger brother is the favorite. They were coming anyway, but Vrak came with the War Star ahead of the invasion to prove to his father that he's worthy of the throne over his stupid little brother. Grabbing the weakened Robo Knight and heading out. Leading to the epic two-part finale, Vrak is back. Vrak has 3 monsters, which the Rangers defeat in style. But actually what they aren't aware of is after destroying them, they all turn into these giant drill missile things and power up Vrak. And he explains the drills are going to tunnel into the center of the Earth and blow up during the eclipse. He was able to make the drills with the same energy as the headers by torturing Robo Knight until he turned into Dark Robo Knight. The Rangers and Daz try their best to destroy the drills, but nothing's working. Troy stays behind to try and reason with Robo Knight, trying to get him back on side, but nothing's breaking free to him. Until Troy gets demorphed by Robo Knight and crashing into one of the cars sets off its radio. The music, as well as seeing Troy, actually gets through the Robo Knight. He turns good again. Everyone meets back up with Vrak and they try giving them all they got. But they're too late, the eclipse! So they try using their finisher, have a beam struggle, which is eventually broken by Vrak. But before Vrak can react, Troy is leaping into the air and hits him before he can react. This destroys Vrak, the missiles disintegrate. But before anyone can celebrate, the Zanyak have truly arrived. To be continued.
Power Rangers unworthy!
Pirate Armada. No time to celebrate the destruction of the world-ending drills or defeat of Vrak, because his empire has arrived with their Armada. We cut away for a bit to see someone grabbing the Mighty Morphin Red Ranger key. Cutting back, and the Megaforce Rangers are getting absolutely walloped by this invasion of the Zanyak. Even the Gosei Megazord is destroyed. So the team is forced to retreat as the sky is literally coated in Zanyak ships. I guess they just needed to regroup.
Come and meet your doom!
Hey, where's Robo Knight? Wait a minute. Pirate Rangers! Set sail! The Pirate Rangers are doing very well against the X-Borgs. In space side, we see the White Chariot and the commander of the fleet, Prince Vakar. He's glad about the success of the first wave of the invasion, and Argus readies the second wave. Chief Scientist Lavira apologizes to Vakar that his older brother Rock must have fallen in battle. And Vakar clearly couldn't care less. Cause now it's my time to shine, to show I can conquer this stupid world unlike my stupid older brother, and prove myself to Emperor Dad. Just for Head General Damaris to show up saying they're facing some significant resistance. Cutting back Earthside to see the Rangers. Showing off unique fighting tactics, including even tossing each other's weapons to each other. So blue is more effective with swords, and green is kinda silly but very good at shooting. The real Megaforce team makes it back to the base, finding the Ranger keys have all been stolen. and for some reason only Jake's monitor was smashed. Robo Knight was badly hurt in the escape, so Dadis looks over him and Gosei explains on the screen they know where the Ranger keys are at. Showing on the screen, go Samurai, and they become Samurai Rangers. Coming back in person, and they go, it's Morphin time, going Mighty Morphin Rangers, and we have a full scene with this. Then switching magical source, Mystic Force. They might get knocked out of it quick by the General, so they take him out with a final wave. Levira and Argus go planet-side to taunt them, sending more X-Borgs after them. So they go, RPM, get in gear. And Supersonic Ranger. I'm very much of two minds when it comes to using the non-adapted Sentai teams. I kind of want to use them and explain away why they exist, but I also want to keep them to the very minimum. So instead of Dynaman, they stay as RPM. So when they go Supersonic, you have the Green Pirate saying something like, oh, these guys are Alien Rangers. And the Yellow Pirate saying, shut up, Donnie. Giving a little hint to who the pirates are, while also making the universe feel a little bigger that there are more Ranger teams in the galaxy. And totally not a way to use more Gokaiger footage without having to edit it. But before they go Megaforce, we see Jake and Gia grabbing the keys from them, using their card powers as the pirates go back to base form. The Mega Team quick morphs, and the Green Pirate's like, oh, those must have been the guys we stole the Ranger keys from. Yellow Pirate's like, yeah, man, wait, why'd you say that out loud? You just admitted it. The villains just leave. The Red Pirate introduces himself as Captain Marvelous, says the fight is over, so return the keys. Just for Gia to say that the keys belong to us, and you stole them, and Marvelous rebuts with, we stole them for a good purpose. The Green Pirate saying, yeah, we needed them to fight the Zongyak. Troy apologizes and says, can you at least let us have our silver key so we can revive our friend Robo Knight? Saying that we need the powers to protect the world. And Marvelous refuses because they need the powers to protect the entire galaxy from the Zongyak. So the Yellow Pirate tells them to buzz off. This really upsets Gia and Jake. Troy really tries being diplomatic, but nothing gets through Marvelous, so Troy throws the first punch, leading to the two teams fighting. Vakar witnesses this and cheers, yes, let the Earthlings fight amongst each other as we invade, haha! The two teams are pretty equal, well other than the Green Pirates kind of a joke compared to Jake. Leading to both teams using their finishers, which causes a big explosion, knocking both teams out of their Ranger forms. Revealing that the pirates are actually humans, and Gia makes a you're human reference to in space. Green Pirate's like, actually we're from Miranoi. I'm a native there, everyone else is human, but you guys are really strong. The Yellow Pirate smacks him. Why not just reveal everything to them? And don't admire them. But then a giant red galleon flies across them, and the pirates make their escape before the Mega Rangers could do anything. On board, we quickly learn the names of the rest of the pirates, Joe the Blue Pirate, Luca the Yellow Pirate, Donnie the Green, Bailey the Pink. They also have a robot bird named Navi, which is short for Navigation and Fortune-Telling Mechanical Avian. The pirates made it pretty far from the Mega Team, so Lucas suggests they use Navi's fortune-telling. And Donnie's like, yeah, sure, what could possibly go wrong? They start up just for Navi to hit their head, so the message comes out all cryptic. A person dressed in black will provide the information you seek. So heading down to the city, and that doesn't narrow it down at all. On the White Chariot, Damaris reports about last episode. Vakar is very dismissive and doesn't care about the pirates, they're just a minor nuisance. Damaris thinks this is underestimating their power, which upsets Vakar so much he says he's going to promote whoever comes in that door to being a general. Then the IT guy walks in asking for the Wi-Fi password, so Vakar immediately promotes him to field general. Get out there! Back with the pirates, they pawn off one of Bailey's jewels so they can get some burgers. But this gets interrupted by explosions. With the White Chariot flying across the city, spouting out some propaganda, introducing the planet to they are the Zangak Empire, he is Prince Vakar, and if they don't surrender now, then we're gonna level the city. Even a rarity for Power Rangers, we show off the military, but they are no match against the X-Borgs. The Pirate Rangers try walking away from it, but then they just start thinking. Lucas saying that this planet can't stand up to them without Rangers. As we cut away, seeing the Mega Team dealing with some X-Borgs, saving some people, and Mr. Burley cowering away in his office, all scared. Joe stating that Earth will become an Imperial colony, which Bailey states just like Miranoi was. Marvelous adding, our lunch was ruined, so we're in a bad mood, and so was everyone else's lunch. So let's stop the Empire, such is the way as the pirate. They morph and they fight, saving people and effectively dealing with the Zangak. Well, except for Donnie, who goes Samurai Red and then get instantly smacked away. They regroup and go SPD emergency against the tentacle guy, then Ninja Storm Ranger form, finishing him off with Forever Red. But Levira shows they have a new way of growing monsters that can even do multiple at once. So Marvelous summons the Red Galleon, and we show off the Pirate Zords until they form the legendary Pirate Megazord. It's a lot more agile than you would think. Monster tries grabbing him from the back, spinning the thing on its back, which only reveals its cannon. Then keyholes appear on the steering wheels that control the Megazord. They insert their keys, charging up a Starburst attack. After dealing with the monster, they go up into space and deal with the Zangak fleet, which scares Vakar into retreating to Mars. Megazord folds back into the Red Galleon. The pirates go back to the town and try asking around with a megaphone about the Man in Black, introducing themselves as Power Ranger pirates, and everyone looks at them weird. Back with Vakar, the fleet repositions themselves back around the moon, and Damaris reports that the pirates took out half of their fleet. I told you we shouldn't have underestimated the pirates. Vakar is very upset and beats up some X-Borg, screaming to wipe that from the data. Meanwhile, the pirates set sail again, but then we see someone in black with the Mystic Force symbol. The pirates get surprise attacked and shot down. Making it worse, the monster of the week separates the team. Marvelous and Donnie are in the woods, and they meet the guy in black, who turns out to be Chip, the Mystic Force Yellow Ranger. The others are fighting the Zangya, going forever black. Chip introduces himself, explaining that Mystic Force is one of the previous Power Ranger teams. Donnie somewhat recognizes him from the keys, showing him the Mystic Green Key. And Chip says he'll help them unlock the full potential of the Mystic Force keys, but first they have to chase him, as he seemingly walks into a tree, disappearing. Donnie's very excited, growing up with Miranoi belief in magic, but Marvelous thinks this is idiotic. Donnie asks, do you think this is a trap? And Marvelous is like, well, yeah, this is definitely a trap. But the idiotic part is the fact that magic does not exist. Explaining that growing up, his father was a scientist, before they went on the run from the Zangak, so he does not believe in magic. But Twitter does, so he grabs his arm and they run through the tree going into a mystical land. Meanwhile, the Mega Team that helped being repaired a school, and Noah questions, where's Mr. Burley? He opens the door to his office and he's all scared in the corner, with Noah saying that the robots are gone, he doesn't have to hide now. But Mr. Burley's still horrified that they might return. Just give him a couple days, he needs to be alone. Back with Marvelous and Donnie, they end up in a cave, and they get Indiana Jones and have to run away from a giant boulder, running away from it, but then Donnie has the bright idea to jump towards the boulder. One of their pirate sabers falls out of their pockets, and the boulder is lifted into the air over them because of it. Eventually, the boulder dissipates, revealing that it was a magical illusion. Donnie tries saying, see, magic! And Marvelous is like, it's dark in here, it's probably just still rolling. With the other Rangers, they go forever white to deal with the monster. But now as their final task, Marvelous and Donnie have to leap a giant gourd and prove they believe in magic. Donnie gets a big stick and he pole vaults, screaming that he believes in magic. And then he gets grabbed by the monster. Donnie now hanging for his life against the cliffside with the monster near. Marvelous jumps after to save his crewman, saying that he believes in magic. Grabbing Donnie, he tries climbing up. He's slipping until Chip grabs him and pulls him up, saying that the courage he just showed to save his team is the true meaning of magic. And by tapping into the true power of the past Power Rangers, you can truly save this world. Everyone meets back up, and they go Magical Source, Mystic Force, with the Mystic Force theme playing in the background as they defeat the monster. And because they unlock the true potential of Mystic Force, they get the legendary Mystic Dragon Zord and the legendary Mystic Force Megazord. As the pirates fly away on the Red Galleon to their next adventure, we see a familiar face on a motorcycle right into town. The episode opens with the Rangers testing out different Ranger keys to see what they will do with the Megazord, starting with Power Rangers Jacka, which Donnie introduces as another alien team. There's a crowd watching and embarrassing. Trying again with the Aquatar Ninja Rangers and Lightspeed Rescue, okay. Even the crowd gets bored by this. With the Zongak, Damaris introduces that the Emperor sends Katana, a member of the Emperor's Special Sword Force, some of the greatest sword fighters in the galaxy. He proves his skill by cutting up an apple, which Vakar says is one of the most delicious ways to defeat the Rangers. As Joe and Bailey are going for a grocery run, they see Katana, and him and Joe recognize each other. So he morphs and jumps into the action. The rest show up, but Joe takes on Katana by himself until he gets hit with his infinite sword technique. Argus is watching on the screen and he can somewhat recognize both of them, but he doesn't know why. The rest of the team finds Joe defeated, and Katana just leaves them saying that Joe isn't even worth it. The team makes dinner, but Joe is nowhere to be seen. Bailey looks for him, finding him in the nearby bamboo forest practicing. She's concerned about him as he's clearly hurt, but Joe just keeps repeating that he has to do this, and getting upset when Bailey tries prying in. Later that night, she tries talking to Luca about Joe, and it turns out Luca knows about Joe's backstory. Before he joined the pirates, he used to be part of the Special Sword Squad. So this is very personal to Joe. You just gotta have to let him work it out himself. The next day, Joe is walking across the beach looking for Katana. He arrives as Bailey's secretly watching behind some rocks. The two fight, infinite sword technique, but then as Joe is actually winning, until ambush and he gets held in place by three bruisers. Bailey's standing up saying, "What?" Katana's saying that there's no rules in a fight. But before he can finish off Joe, if he's gonna cheat, then might as well cheat back, so the pirates show up shooting him. So Joe continues the fight with Katana as the rest go Jungle Fury, then SPD to fight the small fries, tossing over their pirate sabers so he can have the 5-sword technique of friendship, taking out Katana with a forever blue final wave. When he grows giant, he tries escaping, so they chase after him. And after he's defeated, Joe bakes a cake of friendship. Seeing this getting reported on the news actually inspires Mr. Burley to come out of his office, and like all the kids in the class are cheering that he's back. He gives a speech about saying that humanity is strong together with our friends and determination will overcome this mechanical nightmare. Which also gets the Mega Team thinking, asking Gosei why are the Pirate Rangers a thing, which he explains that as he learned from his mentor Zordon to always have backups. The Pirate Rangers, Morphers, and stuff were designed as a backup in case any Power Ranger needed to transform into their form, but their Morpher was destroyed or something. So the Mega Team comes up with a plan to try and get the pirate powers back, to use the Robo Knight key to revive him. So the Megaforce team loads up on the Mega Dragon Zord and they fly off. But before they go, Troy knows that they're going to need at least someone to stay behind to save the town. So he recruits former bully, now friend, Roy, to become the new Green Megaforce team member. The episode opens with Donnie quizzing Joe about the Ranger keys and where they're from, like Wild Force. They get their powers from the Animarium. And then this is also another way we can introduce the Sentai Rangers, like Denji Man, they're aliens. Thunder Squadron, they're from another universe. Prism, also from another universe. And Luca interrupts this by saying it turns out their bounties went up, and some Zongak ships fly above, dropping off flyers showing the wanted posters, and Donnie's like, "Oh my, this looks nothing like me." But Marvelous couldn't care less about either, so he uses Navi's fortune until they hit their head, so it's cryptic. There's something you wish to find, maybe check the police station. So they scope it out, and some of the police officers start kind of recognizing from the flyers that just dropped by, until a portal opens up and hops out Doggy Kruger from SPD, introducing himself and saying that the pirates are under arrest. Marvelous scoffs, saying that the space police are so desperate for funding they'll even work with the Zangiak. No wonder Earth only has Space Patrol Delta and not Alpha. Kruger says he might be part of Space Patrol Delta, but they're under arrest for other reasons, namely they are stealing powers from the morphing grid, and those keys are not theirs. So Luca suggests a secret technique of running away. Doggy manages to handcuff Marvelous, but as Doggy is starting to consider using the mind erasing camera, Marvelous manages to escape, so he instead goes after Marvelous, leaving the cops at the station in shock about the giant dog coming out of the portal. This leads into an unmorphed fight between Marvelous and Kruger. Marvelous tries getting his handcuffs cut, but Doggy's able to stop himself from cutting them. But in this moment of pause, they actually hear something in the warehouse. Turns out the Zangiak are going to use some of the same type of drills that Vrak used, but as the weapon dealer and Rivera reveal, the drills are very expensive, so these are the final drills they have in the entire galaxy. So Kruger says Marvelous to sit and stay, and he'll deal with the Zangiak. Meanwhile, the other Rangers found the Zangiak, so they go RPM, get in gear. Then the 4 turn into the Titanium Ranger and the 4 Spirit Masters, the 4 Power Ranger originals. Meanwhile, Doggy's not doing super hot, so Marvelous jumps in to rescue him. Kruger questions why Marvelous saved him, and Marvelous explains that his father taught him an honor code. He might be a pirate, but he's traveled his entire galaxy to protect the innocent. Kinda like what you're supposed to. So he finally gets the cuffs unlocked, everyone meets up, and we get an SPD emergency. SPD tribute, the SPD theme in the background. When he goes giant, the weapons dealer tries slamming the drill into the ground, but the pirates grab it and send it to the Zangiak. And for protecting the innocents, they unlock the full potential of the SPD and get the new legendary SPD Zord and Megazord. They have one of the coolest Zord fights in the entire franchise. That morning, out from another portal, Sky appears in red. So at this time it would be Sky is red, Bridge is blue, Lena San is green, Sophie is yellow with Z retiring to raise a family, and Sid is still pink. Either way, it's revealed that Sky has completely pardoned the Pirate Rangers, so the Zangiak bounties will not be enforced on Earth. Another food run, but Luca sees a special ring she really wants. Donnie's confused by this because we keep pawning off Bailey's rings. If you want one so bad, just ask her for one. But before she can respond, a rich lady comes in and just buys the whole store. She didn't even want the ring, she just wanted the space to store her stuff. Luca yells at her until the rich girl's dad shows up. He's all like, if you want the ring, you gotta have to earn it. So Luca becomes their janitor, and despite being rich fancy people, they are absolute slobs, with the dad complaining about literally everything. And he also shows off they're rich because they have money growing on trees. Literally, this golden tree. Which the Zangiak hear about and really want, so they send a master of stealth to go in and get it. Shenanigans ensue. Luca then finds a dirty old bunny plushie and doesn't really think about it because it's under a bunch of other stuff, so frozen in the trash, until the rich girl finds it and gets super upset and fires Luca on the spot for doing it, until they find the monster sneaking in. After some shenanigans, Luca morphs and then goes overdrive yellow, sending him flying. The rich girl apologizes and explains Mr. Bunny was her only childhood toy growing up. She was incredibly poor until her dad found the gold tree and an asteroid. Later that night, Luca's very conflicted about the privileged girl who came from nothing and is now just loaded. So her and Joe have a heart-to-heart where they kind of understand that sometimes people don't understand what they have until they lose it. The next day, the monster arrives and sets the mansion on fire. The pirates arrive to deal with them as Luca heads in and goes, save the rich family. They make out fine, so Luca goes Lightspeed Rescue to try and save their stuff, as the rest of the team go Jacka to save money. Luca was able to put out the fires, and most importantly, she was able to save Mr. Bunny, which gets the rich girl realizing they don't need all this chains and jewelry and money and stuff. This bunny gave me way more joy growing up than all this money put together. As also ironically, the mansion fire burned the tree. And Luca explains she didn't want the ring just to wear, she wanted to resell it because she ultimately wants to make an orphanage. Because Luca grew up in poverty and raised a bunch of orphans after her parents died in the crash landing of Terra Venture into Miranoi. She joined the pirates after she was rescued by Joe, the kid she looked after hopefully safe with the resistance on KO-35. So Luca goes turbo yellow and meets back up with the rest, and they defeat the monster. And wrapping up, it turns out the family gave the ring to Luca, and they used the rest of their surviving money to move back into that jewelry store to open it up again, now knowing the value of the stuff they have. The episode begins with just kind of a normal morning for the pirates. Marvelous asks Navi where they are, and Navi has no idea. Somehow every city looks the same while also changing every few minutes. Well, that's useful, so Donnie activates the fortune teller form. Navi hits her head on Donnie's belly, saying, "Jungle Spirit, pizza unleashed." Donnie's really hungry, but the others take note of the jungle part, so they're gonna investigate. Meanwhile, the Zongyak, Argus found a champion from Earth who wishes to help named Punchachamok the 13th, explaining that he's the 13th carnation of a spirit who fought the Rangers and now he wants revenge, especially for what happened to the 12th. And Vaccaro okays it. The pirates make it to town and they visit the zoo. They learn facts about rhinos, they feed giraffes, and Donnie's still complaining that he's hungry, trying to eat one of the leaves, but the giraffe sneaks it from him with his tongue. Sees some flamingos, which really excites Bailey. And then they see some guy just in a tiger cage, not fazed at all by the tiger. But in the parking lot, Punchachamok is there, so the Rangers hop in to deal with him. But he steals their weapons with his magnet powers. And he slaps around Bailey and Donnie, as the others go legendary Wild Force, chasing him away. Donnie and Bailey are upset that they were so weak compared to the others. So on the walk home to the Red Galleon, they see some martial arts training. They go up to the master, and it's revealed to be Casey from Jungle Fury, who's become a master of the claw. So he agrees to train them. As he's talking about their animal spirits and stuff, they start realizing he's the guy from the zoo. He must be the spirit of the tiger. Bailey's excelling at the training, finding out that she's the spirit of the flamingo, delicate yet noble and elegant. Donnie's really frustrated that he just can't get this. So that night, him and Luca have a heart-to-heart where she says that giving up is literally not going to help you at all if you wish to improve yourself, so try learning it in a different way. So the next day, Donnie returns super confident, demanding an alternative way of learning. So he gets taken to the local Jungle Karma Pizza. What? Casey explained this is exactly how his master taught him, with Donnie being dismissive. The people of Terra Venture open one of these up on Miranoi. I got this. And then he tries eating some of the toppings, and Casey smacks it out of his hand. Explained that Donnie wants to learn he has to make 6 separate perfect pizzas. And no trying a product until each one is perfect. Donnie's like, what? And with karate? How is that even supposed to? And then Casey immediately does some flips and tricks and makes a perfect pizza by himself. Donnie's belly's rumbling. He tries to get a slice just for Casey to take it back to the rest of the class, including Bailey. The other 3 are dealing with Punchachamok, and they get magnetized. What? We're better than this. So they go Dino Thunder, Super Dino mode, and attack. Meanwhile, Donnie's struggling with all 6 of these pizzas. I mean, what are these toppings he's asking for? Sun-dried tomatoes, blue potatoes and cabbage, pineapple and corn, jalapeno and matcha, beet and strawberries, and then just cheese. After a lot of trial, error, and pizza ending up on the ceiling, Donnie finally gets it, revealing his animal spirit is a squirrel. Donnie has a very similar reaction to Adam finding out that he's a frog. But Casey explains, though being very underestimated, he's very resourceful and adaptive, and Donnie starts feeling just like Ratatosker. Meanwhile, the others, Punchachamok had his extra arms upgraded, But luckily, just in time, the other two show up and they go legendary Jungle Fury Spirit Unleashed. The Jungle Fury theme plays as they defeat him, Donnie and Bailey smashing his extra arms, and then the Megazord launches out all the other animal spirits. Then it's a reveal Casey doesn't even work at the zoo, he just likes feeding the tigers. Heading to the Jungle Karma Pizza, it's revealed that the Just Cheese is for himself and his students, and the Rangers get to have the pretty patty of pizzas. The episode begins, another day, another invasion by the Zongyak, even using the dragon, and some unused footage from past seasons to show that other Rangers are dealing with the Zangyak. Makar is furious, screaming that he can't conquer this worthless rock for his Emperor dad with all this incompetence around him. Argus, fetch the royal rubber ducky, I'm having a bath. Damara sighs in frustration, but Olivero says that we can increase the bounties all I want, but let's try being a little more tactful. They keep using those keys, what if we take them? So she hired the Parasite twins, and the one that already has a permanent host is going to fling the smaller one into the Red Galleon to try and steal the keys. Okay, let's try this again. And again. And again. And again. There we go. The Parasite roams through his ship looking for the keys. Marvelous and Luke are playing catch, Joe's working out, Bailey got some nice donuts that she wants to freeze and keep for a rainy day, and Donnie gets hit in the head by the ball. Sneaky Parasite, and Donnie says, team meeting. Donnie thinks they haven't been properly memorizing a lot of the Ranger teams, and Joe says, we do plenty. So Donnie takes out a team asking, and Joe's like, Galaxy? No, it's Wild Force. How about these? In space. No, Denji Man. But at least they are aliens. How about this? In space? No, Goggle. They're not even they're from a different dimension. What about these? Turbo? It's like these aren't even from this dimension. How they don't even look like, and he bites the yellow key in frustration, and Marvelous says, they're Justice Wing. Now don't hurt the keys. And Donnie's like, thank you. Joe goes to do push-ups in frustration until they realize Navi's nowhere to be found. So the team looks around for them as the Parasite sneaks around. Donnie accidentally knocks over the chest with all the Ranger keys in it. So they pick up the Parasite still stalking around. Until eventually they're alone in the main deck. They can grab the keys until they see Luca and they hide. But with the donuts, so Luca accidentally bites into the Parasite, sending him flying. The rest are trying to retrace their steps. Donnie remembers passing out, holding Navi. Donnie's saying, we gotta find our favorite pet bird. And Marvelous reminds him, don't call her bird. She's more than that. You guys really mean it? What, Navi? Turns out Navi just hit the beaches because, hitting their head and telling all these fortunes takes a lot out of you, and then they tie Navi up for making them worry so much. Make them give the next fortune, they spin around, tied up. Notice how Navi, when they don't hit their head, gives a more clear fortune, saying the path to the greatest treasure in the universe lies in the turtle-shaped island in the sky. Parasite Brother reveals himself, so that's what you're looking for. Oh wait, as Joe then hits them out of the ship, and we finally get to the action. Going Wild Force, Denji Man, Goggle 5, which was all set up earlier. Hit that boy with a bat. And the police. This wasn't just a big bottle episode to save money, because now the Zongyak know what the pirates are looking for. The episode begins with the pirates searching for the Animarium, with Donnie saying it's a literal turtle-shaped island covered in giant animal zords. But Luca's getting annoyed because they've been up here for hours and they haven't found it. Look over there! They head in, but the Zongyak been tailing them with their new general. So they go Lost Galaxy and deal with them until the Red Lion appears. He doesn't just swat the Zongyak, but also the Rangers away, off the island of Turtle Cove where the Rangers comedically fall into garbage. But the garbage belongs to a veterinarian, and that veterinarian is Cole from Wild Force. He's both a veteran ranger and a vetician, explaining that he knows about the Rangers because of the news, And when they explain about what happened with the animarium, Cole explains you can't force it. The Red Lion's a living creature. You have to earn their trust.
Thanks a bunch. Not that it matters. I mean, I'm just going to get blamed for everything anyway.
And it turns out, despite falling this entire way, only Bailey sprained their leg. So Donnie stays behind with her as Cole looks over the leg as best as he can, watching out the window as the Zangak invade and seeing that Marvelous is protecting the innocent. This actually proves themselves worthy of the Wild Force powers, so they go Wild Access! We get the awesome Wild Force theme. They even use the finisher from Wild Force. And when they grow giant, we hear the call of the Red Lion as he approaches, helping out the Rangers and letting them go legendary Wild Force Megazord, forming a new ally they can call whenever. Another day, another attack, another round of Ricard wrestling with his henchmen. Damaris tries calming him down as Argus approaches, revealing that an Imperial cruiser arrives. Hit on board and they just start attacking. They hate these new tin cans. They think the Loogies were way better. Argus manages to stop him as a brand new villain arrives named Snootus using an unused Gokaiger suit, introducing himself and Madakor as members of the Special Sword Squad, as well as Madakor is Prince Vikar's uncle. They were sent by Emperor Mavro as reinforcements. The Emperor said, not naming anyone, Damaris is being very incompetent and saying Vikar can't achieve his goals if you keep holding him back like this. Vikar really likes this. So the pirates are grocery shopping, and yet again it gets interrupted, with Vikar even going on foot, with Madakor and Argus introducing himself to his future citizens and giving out his really long, complicated titles, which gets interrupted by the pirates arriving. They fight as they morph, going legendary Lost Galaxy, and are actually kind of having a hard time against Madakor, which causes Vikar to laugh until Joe rushes him, but Argus does his bodyguarding job, even knocking Joe back to base form. And Argus does a special move, the Solar Slash, charging up, but Joe just freezes because, what? There's only one other person in the entire galaxy that knows about that. But because of that freeze, he gets hit directly by it, demorphing. And he yells out, Sugra? But Argus has no idea what he's talking about. We see obviously Joe's devastated by this, as Vikar reveals that Special Commander Sugra, though he might have betrayed us on Miranoi, his skills were way too valuable. So Mel, Alice, and Levira revived him to be on our side again. Joe is just stunned in disbelief as Argus slashes him again, but Marvelous takes it and blasts at them, causing Argus to accidentally toss his sword away. Vikar wasn't hit, but one of the blasts did graze his arm a little. But, my blue blood, and he starts just freaking out, so they retreat. Back at the base, and they're healing up, and Joe is being very quiet and goes to be by himself. Bailey questions what's up with him. So Luca reveals that long ago that Joe was part of the Special Sword Squad, joining a little after Miranoi was conquered. The swordsman, like Skatana, abused Joe, but he was helped out by Sugra. He took him under his wing, basically being his adopted father, teaching him everything he knew. This all changed like many things during the rebellion of Miranoi, when he was ordered by one of his fellow swordsmen, Snootus, to strike down Luca and the children for being part of the rebellion. But Joe realized they're civilians and children and had nothing to do with anything. So when Snootus tried striking them, he rebelled and saved them. Sugra seemingly sacrificed himself so everyone else can escape from Damaris. But I guess Sugra still lives as Argus. The next day, Joe's missing and he left a note saying he's going to meet a friend. The next day, he goes to find Sugra's sword. Argus arrives, and he just pleads with him, please remember him. But nothing is getting through, so Argus just pushes him away, grabbing his sword. Even when Joe does the Solar Slash, Argus just tosses it away, calling Joe pirate scum, leaving Joe to just cry on the ground. The rest hear about the Zongyak and go, but back with Joe, he holds his Morpher and starts remembering the time where he met Marvelous. When he was trying to defend the orphans and Luca from a horde of X-Borgs and Bruisers, but he gets eventually knocked down, until Marvelous appeared, saving his skin with his pirate blaster and saber, with Navi leading everyone else into the Red Galleon. They fought back to back until finally they defeated them all, laying on the ground exhausted. In current times with the others, we see Marvelous go Operation Overdrive, and Ninja Storm, and Turbo, Luca going In Space, and Dino Thunder, and Mystic Force, Donnie going Lightspeed, and Zeo, and Live Man, Bailey going Denji Man, Prism, Time Force. But Megacorp is just so strong compared to everyone else. They get demorphed. But luckily they're saved by Joe solar slashing away all the X-Borgs. Marvelous and Joe fight back to back like old times. They go Mighty Morphin. They struggle a little, but with new footage they're able to turn it around and defeat him. But when he grows, they can just take him out with the Wild Force Megazord. That night, Joe looks up to the stars, vowing that he'll save Sugra, one way or another, as Argus looks out into the stars, seemingly almost remembering. A mysterious, giant, scary, skeletal ship arrives. Vakar is screaming in fear, which causes students to storm in, wondering where that little girl is. They're in trouble. Vakar has no idea what you're talking about, so Lavira and Argus deal with it. With the pirates, it's a pretty casual day. Marvelous is just playing darts. Donnie just made some sausages, which Marvelous just stabs with one of the darts and eats it, despite it being super hot. So Donnie decides to go over a couple more teams. Megaforce, no, In Space, yeah. Turbo, no, Live Man, they're from another dimension. Mighty Morphin, no, Thunder Squadron, they're from a different dimension. The Ninja Storm, no, Wild Force. And, actually, hey, it's that one key that one team was looking for. Yeah, I wonder what ever happened to them. Luca's like, yeah, we haven't turned into this one yet. Marvelous taking the Robo Knight key, looking at it, but hold up. Get down! And it turns out the Mega Team finally found them. Navi yelling, enemy Megazord off the starport bow. Joe states they made the first strike, and we'll finish it. They quickly form up and attack. They summon the Seek brothers, and it's like, what? They're also pirates, copycats. They fight, but the ghost ship is still there, so Lavira and Argus go ghost busting, jumping in until it comically steers to the other side so they fall. Upsetting Vakar. Back with the Rangers, Troy sneaks onto the ship as Navi's alerted. Troy tries calming them down by saying, Polly want a cracker, or I guess robot computer chip? Seeing the Robo Knight key, he tries grabbing it until Marvelous appears shooting at him, so Troy just grabs the entire chest and jumps out. Marvelous tails him and they fight on the ground. Marvelous says, give back the Ranger keys, they belong to us. And Troy says they belong to Earth. Back on the Zanyaks, a big cloud of black smoke appears, forming up to Davy Jones. He's a privateer who wants to help the Zanyak. The car is horrified by him, but Davy Jones gives them a thumb drive, inserting it into one of their computers, showing a bunch of different scenes from past Rangers, saying that Davy Jones can resurrect any monster the Rangers have ever fought. Damaris is unsure, but Studis is like, why don't we just give him a chance to show it off? The Reds, they still fight until Marvelous just gets tired of it.
I took it to protect us. If you'd rather protect your idiot friend's reputation, then go ahead.
But then the White Chariot arrives in orbit and blasts everyone. Beaming down, Davy Jones uses his skills to resurrect some old monsters. One from Mystic Force, Captain Mutiny from Lost Galaxy, and what it can't be, says the Rangers, and even Vakar. Anyone other than him. Vrak is back. Again. Gloating to the Rangers, he's returned again, blasting them. He beams back to the ship as Dagon and Mutiny stay behind. Noah, Emma, Donnie, and Bailey deal with Dagon, as the rest deal with Mutiny. With all this original footage, even Roy's Mega Green shows up. They go legendary Mighty Morphin. As the others are struggling with Dagon, Navi flies down wondering what just happened with everyone, walking around looking for their crew until they comedically trip over. But because of that, they find the Robo Knight key. They still struggle with Dagon, so they decide to get clever with it. So Noah and Emma use their card powers to disguise the foot soldiers as themselves. So Dagon will attack them, not knowing who the real Rangers as they take pot shots at him. But they quickly run out of foot soldiers, but luckily, Robo Knight takes out Dagon, Mutiny retreats. Everyone meets back up, and the Mega Team's excited to see Robo Knight's back. But Robo Knight thanks this little robot bird for saving his life by using the Ranger key on him, and now he says not to call her Bird. Back with the Zanyak, Vikar's in his own personal hell. Everyone's cheering, they're glad that Vrak is back, and he's being all smug about it because he knows it really gets under Vikar's skin, telling Damaris it was an honor serving with his admiral brother Malcor. Brothers supporting brothers is something I love to embrace. So now that the pirates actually got a moment to sit down and explain their situation to everyone, Troy's not happy about it per se, but he'll allow the pirates to keep the Ranger keys. For now. Plus, it turns out a lot of the Rangers have a lot in common, like Luca and Gia. They're like practically the same person. And Jake and Donnie really get along, and Jake asks why did he smash his screen and only his? And Donnie reveals, well, when he found the chest with the Morphers in it, he got shocked and flew back. And because of that shock, he has all this memory and stuff from the morphing grid, and that's how he knows all the Ranger stuff. With Rock back, again, the White Chariot crew praises him for his bravery against the Rangers and for Davy Jones returning him, which is clearly eating Vikar up inside, and Vrak knows it. Smugly choosing the next course of action, using the knowledge of the morphing grid obtained by Davy Jones, Vrak discovered about the Netherworld and he wants to use the Nilox against the team. Jealous of his brother, Vikar suggests why don't we also use one of the greatest privateers in the Empire. We see that privateer flying, and what a monkey. With the pirates, their bounty went up again, due to destroying the Emperor's brother Megaforce. Marvelous is very whatever about it, but Donnie's concerned that because of this might lead to even stronger opponents coming after them. Meanwhile, in the Netherworld, it's revealed that Master Xandred's boat was taken over by a new Nihilok warlord, Grottogin, until a mysterious figure emerges from the Sanzu River. Dr. Ru's upset, oh no, not another warlord, but wait, that silhouette, ooh, Xandred has returned. They immediately surrender. The pirates meet up with the Mega Team to hang out at Ernie's. They haven't had it before. It's this great juice spot. What? And Ernie's like, yeah, I brought it back to how it used to look. I got a lot of insurance money on this place. 90s nostalgia is very in right now. And we see a subway train, and out from it, some familiar-looking boots and a familiar katana. Later, the pirates are walking, and Donnie slips on a banana peel, and he's like, wow, I thought this only happened in cartoons. What the... And they see a monkey, and they have a clearly fake voice saying, hi, Martin. Everyone's confused, like, huh? What? Is this a Zanyak general now? Who's Martin? Marvelous smacks Donnie, saying, yeah, that's me. But don't call me that. And there's only one person who would know that. And out behind the monkey, it's revealed the voice comes from Burden, who notices that Marvelous is wearing his dad's old coat. Everyone's super confused, and Marvelous says, he's no one, let's just get out of here. And Burden's like, gasp, I can't believe you didn't even tell anyone about your best friend. They're not even good enough to mention your real name to. This slight against his crew angers Marvelous, so he attacks, but each blow is blocked by the monkey, Sally, until Sally clashes her cymbals with Marvelous' head between, knocking him out. Meanwhile, the Nilox are attacking the Mega Team, and they're confused who these new foot soldiers are, which leads into a baseball stadium where they use old loogies. But then suddenly, what? Who are these guys? It's the Power Ranger Samurai, who aids the Mega Team until Xandred arrives, and that's not Xandred, that's Vrak in a costume. The Samurai team is confused how Master Xandred returned, but Jake points out that that's not Xandred. But the Samurai don't care because they'll take them down anyway, fighting until Vrak hops out, knocking Grottogin outside until he dries out and escapes. Marvelous wakes up, but wonders where everyone is, until he gets a call on his legendary morpher from Burden, who has his own legendary morpher, calling the gloat that he captured his team, and he's got one day to come and get them, or he'll send them to the Zanyak, or you can exchange the Ranger keys for them. The Samurai team introduces themselves to the Mega Team, saying they were called from Gosei through the morphing grid, coming from their dimension here. Marvelous meets up with everyone, explains the situation, and we get a quick recap of Samurai. The other pirates try escaping through the air vents just to end up in another cage. Meanwhile, with Rack, he's bringing the Sanzu River directly into the main timeline because he wants to flood the world. Burden's got the Rangers ready for a trade-off, them for the Ranger keys. And it's going until Marvelous tosses the chest in the air. The chest opens, spilling out the keys, as well as a legendary Morpher, which Donnie grabs with his mouth. Sally tries stopping them, but Luca trips them. Burden and Marvelous fight. Joe catches the Spirit Master blue key, and he awkwardly helps Donnie morph, freeing everyone else. Navi flies in, grabbing the Ranger keys in the chest and heading back to the galleon, but Sally was able to grab a couple keys. Then Burden reveals a trumpet, saying, "Thank you, Lavira." Summoning clone copies of RPM Wing, Robo Knight, Mighty Morphin White, Samurai Gold, Solaris Knight, In Space Silver, Lunar Wolf, Dino Thunder White, and the Mercury Ranger. Marvelous calling Jaden to say the plans have changed, and he replies, yeah, they definitely have, finding the Sanzu pit. So the Mega Team and Samurai Team team up as the Pirates deal with Burden. They get the crossover team morph, and the Pirates also get a long morph. Cutting between both battles until eventually the Rangers defeat all the Ranger clones. But Burden got away, but no time, so the Pirates help out. We see the Samurai and Mega Team using their powers together, even cloning the Black Box powers. The Pirates go legendary Forever Red and deal with Octoroo. As the rest are trying to seal back the Sanzu River, until Vrak and Grotto Jin grow giant, as well as Davy Jones' resurrected matter core, so the Pirates deal with him as the rest deal with the Nihilok. But Vrak summons all the strength of the Sanzu River to toss it at them, and Matter Core seems a lot stronger than he previously was. But due to Marvelous being willing to sacrifice the greatest treasure in the universe, the Ranger keys and find the greatest treasure in the universe, to rescue his crewmen shows his loyalty, which proves he has the heart of a samurai, which lets them unlock the Wild Samurai Gigazord, as the Samurai and Mega Team combine their powers to defeat Vrak. And Vakara screams, "Yes! I mean, no, my brother, I loved him so much." I'm crying, not laughing. Anyone who says I'm laughing is getting airlocked. Snooze ensuring Vakara that he's always liked him way more. The three Ranger teams get some gelato and send them back to their own dimension. Another invasion, but Marvelous's head is clearly not in the game as they summon the SPD Legendary Zord. Later, Donnie just flat out asks, okay, what is the deal with Burden? Marvelous gets up and he's unverbal, so Navi just starts and explains. Marvelous and Burden were like brothers. Marvelous's father, Rufus, was a scientist hired by the Zangyak to study the Star Beast swords on Miranoi, until he finally started realizing the Zangyak only wanted evil things with the swords. So one night, he grabbed his son's orphan friend, and they stole a Zangyak galleon, eventually becoming the Red Corsairs. No matter how much of an uphill battle it was, they fought the Zangyak and tried to stop them as much as they can. Burden and Martin were inseparable, coming up with nicknames like Marvelous Martin and D-Joker. They even built Navi together, from parts from Aquarius. Burden wanted to call Navi just Birdie, but Marvelous came up with the nickname Navi. They're not just a navigator, as they gave their first fortune. To defeat the greatest empire the galaxy's ever seen, you must obtain the greatest treasure in the universe, hid behind the Ranger Key. To start the journey, you must return to where it began. And that's why Marvelous wanted to take the Ranger Keys in the first place. Everything changed one day when they were suddenly attacked in the night. And it's revealed that Burden betrayed them to get a pardon from the Zangyak. They also used the Zangyak's resources to find the treasure without actually telling them. Rufus and Martin fought tooth and nail against the Zangyak that night, being completely overwhelmed. Rufus gave his code to Martin, saying, "Keep fighting the Empire and find the greatest treasure," pushing Marvelous away as he sacrificed himself to make sure that Martin got away. Martin took the code and became Captain Marvelous, remembering what Navi said and returned to where it began, heading to Miranoi during the rebellion where it was completely scorched by the Zangyak. This is when Marvelous met up with everyone and we see Donnie swinging on a vine to make it to the Red Galleon, just to comically smack into a window and please let me come with you. Which brings us into the now. Oh no, and the more Zangiak invading. But now with Marvelous being more open and getting that off his chest, he's more into games, they summon the dragon. Meanwhile, Burden's watching, and he's calling someone, saying, "Oh yeah, I love the gift you gave me, but can I also get one of those old Zangiak galleons and make it black?" He has in one hand a suspicious, unique ranger key. As from an even further distance, someone else in red is watching. Very unique for Power Rangers, we begin with a bank robbery, and the bank robbers have the weapons from the X-Borgs. But at the bank, there's Justin from Turbo, all grown up. He sneaks into the bathroom to morph, and he takes out the bank robbers. This is being watched over by Lavira, who's studying the morphing grid, and Vakar is still upset about the Rangers, so he summons the royal chef, Invidious, to get his royal coffee, 98% low-fat milk, 1% actual coffee, and plenty of caramel drizzle. It's revealed that Invidious has a major crush on Lavira. It's been like that since they first met in high school, back on the Zangiak homeworld. So after some dealing and 14 years' salary, he got a love potion. And it works. But not on Invidious, because the first person Lavira sees after it is Justin. Meanwhile, the pirates are learning Earth customs, like crosswalking and stuff. And Invidious will do anything for his beloved Lavira, so he sends an army of X-Borgs down to get Justin. The pirates are nearby, go legendary Mighty Morphin, send Invidious into retreat. Afterwards, Justin introduces himself to the Rangers. It's revealed after the events of Turbo. He's become a part-time driving instructor, but his real passion is with coffee. Justin thanks the Rangers and gives them some iced coffee that he made, which tastes terrible, and there's some comedy of them trying not to spit it up in front of him. Meanwhile, Lavira is literally singing and dancing how much she loves Justin. So Invidious, ever willing to please his love, goes down to get Justin again. Lavira, hearing Justin's going to be there, goes down with. The pirates show up, and they decide because Justin to go legendary Turbo. But Justin reminds them that's not Turbo. And he says, hey, whoops, same members, it gets a little confusing sometimes, sorry. There we go. As Lavira is getting really weird, the Rangers get really goofy, but this actually works against Invidious. The guys on the white chariot are watching the entire time, kind of weirded out, especially Vakar, who thinks this is the weirdest, so it just grows him big. As the potion wears off Lavira, but now Invidious is so big and strong, he finally has the courage to admit that he loves Lavira, and Lavira says that she loves him. But not in that way, you're a great friend, though. And then gets crushed in another way. Later, pirates are helping out with Justin, teaching car safety to kids, until they find Invidious literally sitting in the dumps. Being able to survive, but he feels terrible. Bailey, feeling bad for him, asks what he wants to do now. He admits that he's the royal chef to the Zangiak, but it's going to be so weird going back to Lavira after this. His true passion is to open up his own food stand, which gives Justin an idea. Two crazy guys open up a coffee shop. It's not really good, but Invidious does improve it, and hey, even introduces some alien cuisine, which seems to be popular. Invidious is enjoying himself and likes seeing people enjoy his food, unlike Vakar, who always took him for granted. Plus, he's the first alien to live openly on Earth. Until some guy with a suspiciously familiar accent, but wearing a hood so we don't have to pay for makeup, says, yeah, we'll make that the second, actually. Navi gets a prediction, hits head, and now it's confused. You lot should be on the lookout for somewhat spectacular silver person, or something. Well, that's not specific at all, as we see a shooting star that turns out to be a Zangiak ship. The next day, during a Zangiak invasion, the Mega Team finds that a bunch of X-Borgs were already taken out, as the field commander for the episode has a bomb. They play hot potato with it with the pirates until they go legendary 6 Rangers. I wonder why. But the commander also has an impervious force field, until Donnie as Mighty Morphin Green accidentally drops the dragon dagger on the back of it, which kind of breaks it. causing him to retreat and get yelled at by Vakar for breaking such an expensive thing. Later, they question what the Mega Team meant, and they continue their quest to find the silver thing. But the only person in silver they find is someone training to be a hot dog eating contest. But this is interrupted by the commander returning, but then someone appears dressed in, X-Borg parts, and they have their own morpher. What? Pirate Ranger sets sail, and he becomes the Silver Pirate. Jumping into the battle, and he's actually really good. He even has his own trident that turns into a blaster. But oh yeah, that impervious shield knocks him back. So the pirates go in to help, but that thing on the back of the collar now is a bomb. Vakar brags that was his idea. The Silver Pirate realizes it and tosses the collar off of the commander. Damaris is disgusted at the idea that they put a bomb on the commander. While Snootus tells him to watch his tone around the prince. He leaves and Vakar rails into Damaris for daring to question him. The commander survives and he thanks the Rangers and runs away. Everyone's like, whoa, what? Now who's this Silver Pirate? The Silver Pirate introduces himself as Orion of Andracia. His home was destroyed by the Zangiak, and the Morphing Grid led him here. Everyone meets back at the command center, and Orion tells his tale, explaining that long ago Andracia was yet another planet conquered by the Zangiak. At the time, Orion didn't really care because he was a miner in a small town. Everything was fine for him. He even had a Tangarian girlfriend explaining his wristband. One day at the mine, he found a huge crystal with a phone and a key inside. Tripping around it, he kept both to himself. A month later, the Zangiak attacked the planet, with the planet trying to resist getting completely stripped for its resources. The planet's own Power Ranger team, Jaka, tried resisting, with Orion's girlfriend being the Pink Queen of Hearts. They resisted well for a while, but under the command of Commander Rules, the Zangiak brought down their iron fist on the planet, completely annihilating the Rangers. Eventually, that key he found earlier started glowing in his pocket. He moved it closer to the phone, and suddenly he found out all his knowledge about past Power Rangers from Earth. Donnie says something similar happened to himself. But as Ryan continues, he became the Silver Ranger, but it was far too late. The population of the planet was taken off-world as slaves or worse. So Orion lived off the land for a while, being the last man on Andracia, but then the Zangiak came back to strip mine the planet, so he used that crystal from earlier to knock one of the ships out of the air. And after 4 months of repair, he finally got the ship working, and those visions of the Rangers sent him here. Gokaiger goes human form to personally apologize to Orion, admitting they created the Silver Legendary Morpher. He saw visions from the Morphing Grid of what would happen on Andracia, so he tried sending the Morpher to Andracia through the Morphing Grid, but there's no time in the Morphing Grid, so it's sent way too late, as well as crystallizing from the Morphing Grid energy. The pirates liken what happened to Andracia to what happened on Miranoi, and Orion promises that won't happen to Earth. And with all that settled, I'm in desperate need of a haircut. It's a lighthearted makeover montage, during which Noah heard Donnie's complaints about the Zangiak might be sending tougher troops, so he's been working on a way to improve the pirate blasters. Orion settles on a new look, as Commander Rules makes it to Earth. So the pirates go to deal with them. We get original footage of them going Lost Galaxy, and Orion being there. And for Andracia, he hits Rules with a legendary supernova. Using the legendary Wild Megazord, they hit him so hard into the air he blows up in front of the White Chariot. Orion feels a little bit of closure because of that, but he's also feeling really hungry. He hasn't eaten anything but bugs and fish for 2 years. So he ends up joining that hot dog eating contest from earlier, and coming in second place. And in space, we see a black galleon flying. Orion is formally introduced to the Mega Team, and he becomes quick friends of Robo Knight and Roy. But then not really knowing Earth's customs, he follows the Mega Team to school, and he gets kind of awkward when he's just standing in the hallway, until the principal shows up, assuming that Orion's looking for the new janitor job, which Orion accepts. When he asks his name, he just says Orion, and then the principal asks for his last name.
Orion.
Orion's people don't have last names, so he's got to think of something.
Orion Hammond. Rolls right off the tongue. Yeah, Ryan Hammond. Sure.
At the same time, Noah finishes the gift for the pirates. As they get a new prediction from Navi, the legends meet a legend who meets an even bigger legend, How Hyper. And there's two monsters attacking, because the Zangiak built a prototype time machine that the robot goes through. The pirates follow as the other general blows it up, much to Vikar's anger because they only had the one. But Studis looks on the bright side, saying that the Rangers are now trapped in the past. So the rest of the Mega Team deal with this new general. The pirates end up in the past, but the robot is gone already. And it's revealed that it's 2009. They wander around until they find the house of Tommy Oliver. Orion and Donnie are super fangirling at this time. After some introductions, yet another person arrives. Marvelous, thinking that they were sent by the Zangiak attacks, but he just catches Marvelous's saber with his own, tossing it away, and he powers down, revealing that he's Marvelous's father, Rufus. A little check-in on the Mega Team first, and then we head back. Marvelous hugging his dad, and he reveals that he's become the Master Red Ranger, granted directly from the Morphing Masters due to his sacrifice to try and find the greatest treasure in the universe and stop the Zangiak. Marvelous says he thought that he was destroyed, which Rufus replies he was. And then he got better because of the Morphing Masters. But this is interrupted by the Robot General arriving, and he reveals the Zangiak sent him back to destroy Tommy. We get some Sentai footage fighting and some original stuff of the robot trying to keep Rufus away. But then the pirates, except for Orion, go down Thunder and knock him away. And it's revealed Rufus went back in time to give Tommy his Master Morpher. He's been selected by the Morphing Masters due to how much he's done for this world to join them. He accepts, and there's like a triple Zeo Red attack. The pirates finish this off with time for Time Force. The awesome Time Force theme plays as they morph, this being Orion's first legendary transformation. And due to this, he's confused why there's not a colorful explosion behind them. So the robot provides that. They fight and they take him out with that new cannon, the Red Galleon Bazooka. They load their keys into it, and the one in the back determines the charge of a red wave. In the present, they defeat the monster, and they also summon Roy's new Zord, the Ostrich Zord, creating a Gosei Grey Cow Pult Megazord. There's some celebration until the pirates realize they're trapped in the past. Being an agent of the Morphing Masters, he has casual time-walking abilities, and speaking of Time Force, he decides to head to the future, returning with the Quantum Rex 2 from the year 3014. In exchange, Rufus just wants the crystal that Orion's Morpher was found in because it's a early stage of a Zeo crystal. Tommy and Rufus would continue to help, but they have their own missions from the Morphing Masters to deal with, so the pirates head home by themselves. Navi prediction: seek out the warriors of the Hidden Forest. They explore the nearby woods, and they hear an attack. They ready their weapons just to see two legendary rangers just defeated a bunch of X-Borgs to save some animals. It's Leo and Michael. All the rangers are actually excited, but especially Donnie and Orion.
It's an honor. I'm shaking your hand too long. Wow, this is awesome. I know you too. You're great. Jeez. Look.
They're devastated what happened on Miranoi and been fighting the Zangiak everywhere they could, similar to what Marvelous and the Red Corsairs used to do. The two headed to Earth when they heard Zangiak were here. Then they're interrupted by Captain Mutiny, saying that was a real shame, but you chose the wrong side, and that's the cost you pay. Leo doesn't even remember who this is. Aye, you jest. No one forgets Captain Mutiny and lives. Starting an original fight between the Legendary Rangers and the pirates going in space. They manage to ditch them. Leo and Michael are hurt, but it's revealed Burden is near. And he still has some Ranger keys, summoning Mystic White, Shadow Ranger, and Wolf Warrior. Orion gets the Legendary Rangers out of there as the pirates fight, but with Mutiny showing up, they actually get knocked out and sent down a river. With the others, it's revealed they didn't morph because the Sabers are still on Miranoi, so they kinda can't. But Orion knows that the Ranger keys can jailbreak the morphing grid and make them morph. But also Burden has the Magna Defender key. But he also feels why doesn't he just give up his Morpher to Michael? He's far more experienced and better at fighting than he ever was. But Michael ensures Orion that each member of a team makes a greater whole. And Michael's already part of a team, Orion already fits in. But Burton finds them using his own blaster at them, with Michael saying that you can only get chosen to get the powers of the Galaxy Rangers, you can't take them. And Burton says, "Oh really?" and he summons the Magna Defender. The rest of the team washes up, and Marvelous reminds Orion only a moron would give up on their dreams, because dreams motivate us to make a better world. They do a legendary morph to Lost Galaxy, the theme plays, everyone fights, except for of course Orion has to get his key after tossing away the Magna Defender. But Sally's able to get the rest of the keys back, and they make Captain Immunity grow, which is the perfect opportunity to show off the Q-Rex. It's Flying Drill mode, it's Quantum Rex mode, and it's Megazord mode. The others form up the legendary Pirate Megazord. It even combines, arm swaps. They even unlock the Lost Galaxy legendary Megazord, giving them the Lights of Orion. Which Orion, the Ranger, thinks it's kind of confusing because he has a similar name. Afterwards, they temporarily give Leo and Michael the Ranger keys so they can morph and make copies of their Morphers, and off-screen, presumably, they give the other keys to the others. Also, Orion lives in a locker at the school. Navi predicts enemies from the past perish the thought of 2 privateers. And the Zaniac think it's a perfect time to reveal their new plan. Meanwhile, Orion is practicing posing by himself, but the sky turns black, and Davy Jones' ship arrives in orbit. The pirates are scared and confused, so Marvelous suggests let's fly right into it. But this was part of the plan, as Burton's Black Alien flies by, and it turns out it does form its own legendary pirate Megazord, an evil one. Orion goes to fight it, as the rest of the pirates have some Scooby-Doo-esque adventures on the ghost ship, until eventually Davy Jones reveals himself.
We've heard so much about you. It's like we've known you forever.
Revealing the source of his power to summon all the past monsters was this crystal eye. He tells them this because it gives them something to think of as he banishes them to a pocket dimension, where they see every single past foot soldier and Power Rangers. They fight as they morph in roll call, and they fuse into one big boss, but Marvelous is unimpressed and calls them the Small Fry. Not helping as they're all fighting for control, and it kind of looks like they're dancing. Donnie does a little dance to them dancing. Luca hits him in the back of the head and pulls out the bazooka, using a yellow wave. The explosion sends them to a new location, where they see Goldar. They go Mighty Morphin and eventually take him out with the Power Blaster. This blast sends them to the desert with yet another new monster to deal with, Diabolico. Rangers hiding behind a big rock realize this can go on forever, barely noticing a big skull in the sky like how they were sent here in the first place. Maybe one of us can get up there. Marvelous refuses to abandon his crew, but Joe says they got this, and hey, you can always use that crystal to wish us back. The rest stay behind and go Lightspeed Rescue to deal with Diabolico, as Marvelous goes Ninja Storm and uses the glider to fly up, sending Marvelous back to where they used to be. Davy Jones is impressed by how he's able to escape, but he'll send him right back. They fight, Marvelous grabbing the crystal eye, and uses it to wish back his companions, tossing the crystal away. Davy Jones does understand you had all that power in your hand, but Marvelous reminds him there's some things more important in life than just treasure, like friends. They morph, do a pose, use both the pirate and my morphing keys to use a final wave, slash and blast. Back with Burton and Orion, Burton notices what happened, hops back to the ghost ship. The pirates get the legendary Pirate Megazord, and there's some cool Pirates of the Caribbean-esque fighting, till eventually the pirates jump off the side of the ghost ship when they realize it's going down, shooting Burton with a bunch of legendary powers, flying away with the dragon, seemingly with Burton going down with the ship. We see Marvelous looking over the ocean, kind of conflicted. He's both glad and a little sad that they couldn't do more for Burton. But we zoom into the water, showing the fake pink legendary sub, and it's being piloted by Burton. He's alive. Looking over his unique Ranger key, as we see Damaris and a bunch of X-Borgs excavating the ghost ship, taking direct orders from the Emperor. Legendary pirate Armada. New season, same team. They're doing their thing, but Marvelous is being really impatient about Navi's next prediction, trying to literally shake it out of them. The rest of the crew is concerned, with Joe pointing out the fact that he's still not overburdened. He might have turned evil and betrayed him, but they still had a lot of history together. So Luca pries Navi away from Marvelous, and Bailey offers to make tea. Meanwhile, a surviving lava lizard meets with the Zanyak. Seeing that they're able to resurrect past villains, they want to resurrect Moltor. With Levira wanting to use this as a field test, Gosei calls Marvelous, who puts him on speaker, alerting the Rangers that the Zanyak are looking for a special heart crystal to try and resurrect a past villain, and he's sending Mac to overdrive Red Ranger to help them on their journey. They make it to the place, but it turns out Levira is already there, with Levira revealing they're looking for the heart crystal because they want to see if it can handle the power of Davy Jones, as a sort of amplifier prism. Marvelous, Luca, and Mac head ahead, and the rest go ninja style. Wasn't the ninja I was thinking of, but whatever. Mac literally saves Marvelous from walking right into a trap, which makes him think of a similar situation of him saving his dad. But they're too late as they find the heart crystal and use their experiment to try and resurrect Moltor. And it sort of works. He's not full, and he also goes berserk and collapses the cave, fighting the other Rangers. Those are okay in the cave, but Luke is upset that they didn't get the heart crystal. But Mac reminds him there's something more than just the treasure. It's about the adventure to get to the treasure, the thrill of it. Even if you don't actually get it. This cheers the pirates up enough to final wave out of the cave. Meeting back up with the rest, they go Operation Overdrive, the theme song plays. They might be the pirate versions, but they still got the power. Literally ripping the heart out of Moltor. They use the overdrive finisher on him, they grow giant, and they learn the ultimate power of thrill of adventure, and they unlock a hologram of the overdrive Megazord. And more importantly, Marvelous learns that patience is a virtue. Mac keeps the heart crystal for Hartford Labs, and he seemingly kind of recognizes the Master Red Ranger in Marvelous. The pirates are doing their thing, and Joe goes for a food run, but Orion follows him, asking him questions like what's his favorite thing on Earth, and Joe's not really sure. I guess he kind of likes swords, but why are you asking? Well, Orion just wants to know more about the team and Earth. He just is curious about his new friends. And that little kid nearly runs over Orion on a bike, stopping him like, yo, rude. But the kid has to get somewhere really soon. Plus the Zanyak are after the kid. Orion questions and he reveals that the Zanyak were looking around this temple for a special crystal, which the kid also took. The Zanyak arrives, so the pirates morph, and they decide to use dinosaur power. That wasn't the one I was thinking about. After that, it also turns out the kid scraped his knee, but he doesn't care, because he needs to get to the top of a nearby mountain to watch the meteor shower with his friend. Orion offers to fly him up there, but the kid wants to do it himself. So Joe thinks that's really idiotic. Orion's offended by that, but Joe points out, let's be honest, there's no way he's going to be up there by nightfall. But he does give him a band-aid and tell him pitter-patter, get at her. Joe's glad to see at least the kid's determined. Later, the pirates are going over the morphing grid footage of what just happened. Turns out the crystal from the shrine is very similar to the heart crystal, and the kid has it, and the Zanyak are after him, so we gotta book it. They meet up with the kid as the Zanyak are already there, and the kid explains the reason why he's so determined to do it himself is because his best friend he doesn't see often is going to meet up with him on top of the mountain to watch the meteor shower, as well as his friend is considering giving up on his soccer dream, so the kid has to prove that if someone as out of shape as him can get up this mountain on a bike by nightfall, then this should encourage him to keep playing. So the pirates cleared a way for the kid, even on more fighting for a bit. Meeting up with the monster, Orion jumps at him with Mighty Morphin White, and everyone goes, Advent, Summon, Mega Ranger, and finishing him off with Zeo and the Zeo finisher. The monster grows, and the impact wave sends the kid falling off his bike again. They summon the Megazords, and Joe encourages the kid to keep doing his promise. but the monster uses his powers to pull the meteors early to fly into the Earth. The Rangers defeat him, and to deal with the meteors, they fastball special and toss Orion's ship up into the air. The two kid friends meet up, and they are encouraged to play soccer again, with Orion mentioning it isn't all just about saving lives. It's about keeping people's dreams alive. They watch the meteor shower, and it's also revealed that Zangyak got at least a broken piece of the stone. Just another day on the Red Galleon until a new ship arrives trying to contact them. The pilot reveals himself as Garvin of Andracia. The pirates let him on board reluctantly and wait till Orion arrives. And when he gets there, he's excited and jumping up and down and hugs him. He explains Garvis is essentially the Tommy Oliver and the Zordon of Andracia. He was the leader and the mentor of the Power Rangers, Jack, known as the Rule Ranger. Garvis explains that at first they didn't mind the Zangyak because they kind of left their plan alone until they came for their resources. So the Jack team led the resistance, but they were completely overwhelmed by the might of the Zangyak. At the time, Garvis was fighting them off with the Ace Jet. He thought that they retreated, but when he went planetside and realized what happened to his team, he was devastated. His team, his home, his planet, his family, all gone. So he decided to use his powers to try and stop the Zangyak from doing this ever again, becoming a pirate. Marvelous notes how that's pretty similar to his story. With the Zangyak, Commander Turlin arrives, explaining that he's been searching for Garvis for 2 years. He's been a thorn in his side and is the reason why he's got these cybernetics. He's been able to track him to Earth. With Orion, he's having another second thought of keeping the Ranger powers and instead giving them to someone like Garvis, who's much more experienced. But Garvis assures him that he's good enough to fight the Zangyak. You don't need to give up the powers. But then Turlin arrives, and he's going to take over this construction site from the humans to make a new invasion platform. The pirates hear about this, but then Garvis is missing, so Orion looks. Garvis walks up to Turlin, with his cane acting all frail. Orion shows up and there's some more fighting. He might get smacked around a lot, but Orion refuses to give up. And with Garvis...
Hey, old man. Give me everything.
Oh, call an ambulance! But not for me!
Revealing that his cane is actually a blaster. As the rest of the pirates arrive, Orion finally admits he's done with passing off his powers to someone else. He will stop the Zangyak no matter what. And Marvelous likes that thinking. They morph. And even Garvis does, with a rose in his pocket. They fight as Garvis leads the construction workers to safety. And they go legendary samurai. Wait a minute. Thought we're gonna go Zeo. We gotta get on a better wavelength. Can at least one of you please hand me the gold key? That's better. Now everyone's samurai. Garvis like face palms. But to make up for that, everyone else goes forever silver, fighting Turlin until the 5 decide to go Jacka and use their cannon, as Orion also hits him with legendary supernova. And then because this is personal to him, he gets to be the one taking out the monsters. On the Red Galleon, they finally remember to link Orion's bell to the chest. Garvis is incredibly pleased to see how effective the team is. If only his original team was around to witness the Zangyak's fall. Donnie tries lightening the mood by mentioning, you morph a rose, that's pretty strange, how sniffing, what do you mean by that? But Orion brings up the fact that flowers are very important to Andracian culture, as well as their very heightened sense of smell. Garvin doesn't take offense, but he says he'll be staying around to help the Rangers out, and Orion knows just the place he can stay. Turns out Orion gave him a job as his other janitor at the high school, and they're both sleeping in different lockers. He's glad to pose as Orion's dad, but man, these earth beds are really stiff. With the Zangyak, Levira reveals this new invention that will strip the will out of anyone, seemingly taking their bones. Or at least their backbone. With the others, Orion made a traditional Andracian meal for everyone, which is delicious, but Donnie's very weirded out by this. And then later, when Orion and Joe are training, it turns out he's very skilled with his trident, which Donnie gets jealous of. Orion notices and he keeps trying to talk to Donnie, but he keeps saying, whatever, I don't want to talk about it. With the general, he's stealing people's backbones, which makes them very apathetic to everything. The perfect people to conquer. Orion stands his ground, as Donnie immediately calls the others for help. They morph and use grappling hooks to get to the general, as Donnie comedically trips on the rail. It's just not his day, as he's literally tossed off of the building by the X-Borgs, and Orion has to save him. Everyone shows up and goes RPM, get in gear, and Orion decides to join them with silver. Or should he use gold? I like gem, but I also like Gemma. Gold, silver, silver, gold, silver, gold, silver, silver. Get on with it already. I'm trying to pick, just hold on. If only they could become one. And then, whoa, what the? He's excited to see the gold and silver RPM Ranger, but then suddenly they do become one. And Orion created a new Ranger key, the RPM Gold Silver. Even the X-Borgs are confused as Bailey's clapping. He jumps at the monster, and Donnie just freezes in disbelief. So Bailey pushes him away as everyone else gets their spines removed. Monster even got to the Mega Team. So Orion and Donnie gets everyone back to the command center. Donnie asks Gosei how did Orion do that. Gosei explaining that he was able to tap into the morphing grid and use his imagination to create a new key. Donnie just storms out frustrated, heading back to the Red Galleon. Navi flies into his lap trying to comfort him. So Donnie explains to her that he just feels that Orion is just like him, but better in every way, and eventually they're just going to kick him out of the pirates and use Orion instead. But Navi decides to clear stuff up because it turns out Orion thinks very highly of Donnie and thinks that Donnie's basically just Orion but better. He's so confident and he might be really goofy, but he makes it work. And he thinks his knowledge of past Power Ranger teams is very interesting. So Donnie starts thinking over this, going to find Orion on the beach next to a command center, and they fist bop and make up. So they team up to deal with the monster. And Donnie comes up with the idea if you're able to combine 2 keys, why not combine all your keys? So Orion gets them all out and he tries concentrating, clenching his eyes. Oh, come on, all become one, all become one, all become one, all become one. Hurry it up already! As Donnie has to go prism, and he's struggling, and then he finally gets the gold anchor. Power 6! Pirate Silva! Gold mode! Creating the battleizer for the season. Hitting the monster with a legendary Power 6. They blow up the monster, Donnie and Orion are best friends, and they go out for chicken. Make sure it's deboned. It was a normal day on the Galleon until Bailey gets a paper cut. It's a very small one, but Luca treats this severely, like, oh no, what's going on? Oh, it's everywhere. Donnie notes how weird that is, but Navi has a prediction. Coming to the aid of others will lead to the next meeting, or something like that. So everyone pairs off and goes trying to help people. Marvelous decides to carry up some old people up a huge flight of steps, and Orion finds some other old people for him to carry up. Joe and Donnie stop a purse robbery, returning the purse, and it turns out the lady's alternative. Joe and Donnie never really met anyone like this and are a little weirded out at first, but they have to help out others, so they accept her invitation to hang out before her hospital visit. With Luca and Bailey, they help get some water for our little girl's mom, who turns out to be Dana, the Lightspeed Pink Ranger, who's also pregnant. Luca is very interested to help, even more so than she normally is. As a whole bus of old people arrive for Marvelous to carry up the steps. Dana starts going into labor, so the two call a cabbie, but then the Zangiak arrive. So the two ladies have to clear the way for the taxi to get to the hospital, even going Mystic Force. Afterwards, Bailey just confronts Luca and asks, why are you being so protective today? And it's revealed that Luca had a little sister that didn't make it, which is what inspired her to try and open an orphanage and take care of kids. Today would have been her birthday. Meanwhile, Donnie and Joe, it turns out when you actually sit down with the woman, she's actually really cool, and she's also really interested in swords and Power Rangers. But then 3 douchey guys start harassing her, so the pirates stand up for her. But then the Zangiak arrives, so they morph and they defend everyone, even the rude guys. But then the woman has to get to the hospital soon, so the pirates turn Jungle Fury and fight their way to the hospital with her. Everyone meets back up and are then demorphed by a big attack, which turns out to be from Sentinel Knight and Jungle Fury Black and Green. That can only mean one thing, as Burden is still alive. And he mentions, "Oh, come on, Martin, you know it's way harder to get rid of me than that." And he takes out his Ranger key and his Morpher and says, "Privateer Ranger, set sail, morphing." It's revealed that this is the form they was able to capture the pirates previously with. They morph and the guys deal with Burden as the girls are dealing with the Rangers until they get blasted back, so Orion deals with Burden as the rest head over and they decide to go legendary Lightspeed Rescue. The theme song plays in the background. Orion goes titanium power to deal with Burden. They take out the Rangers, but then Sally takes back the keys, and it turns out Sally also has a fire demon in their belly. They summon the Megazords, and because they're able to care about others so much, they unlock the powers of Lightspeed Rescue and hose down the demon. Later, Dana gives birth to another daughter, and the thing the woman was at the hospital for went fine. And two of the guys from earlier are actually really sorry for what they said to her. It turns out she's actually really funny when you actually sit down and talk to her, instead of just immediately hating on her because she's different. Also, she gave Joe and Donnie a makeover without them realizing. Make sure to hit that like button and the subscribe button for the rest of the series.
Why not stay a pretty forever?
Because I don't want to be a woman. Been there, done that, answer.
You are. So hang on, you used to be a girl, became a boy, and now you dress as a dead fit lass. Don't get it. Boggling me head, you.
Just because I'm trans, I'm no different from any other guy that drags up for comedy. You're just a comedy character.
I am hilarious.
It's actually really cool to get to a place where I'm like so comfortable in myself as a guy that playing female roles gives me zero dysphoria.
Dysphoria? Isn't that a Rihanna song?
No, it means like feeling uncomfortable in your body.
God, I never do.
Yeah, we know.
Right, I think I get what you're saying. You're 100% skanky bloke who just likes to have a little play in my pants. Just like the rest of them, really.
We'll go with that.
Orion gives a big recap of all the past Rangers and where they're from, including the Sentai Rangers like Thunder Squadron, different dimension. Car Force, another galaxy aliens. Bioman, another dimension. Dynaman, funny dimension. Supersonic, not so funny alien rangers. Goggle Jewel, more aliens. Denji Man, of course, from planet Denji. Lightning Mask from the other side of the galaxy. Of course, you know about Jack from Andracia. And of course, the Guardians of Eltar, the greatest of them all. Luca questions what's up with the recap because it's revealed that Orion and Donnie made a encyclopedia for Power Rangers, in both digital and print. Quick and easy digestible way to explain all the Power Rangers while also keeping the secret identities for the Rangers, secret. Read up so we don't have any more problems. Back with Lavira, she's experimenting with the Reanimizer. But before she's able to actually use it, suddenly some ninjas appear. Lavira didn't summon them. They reveal their name as Vexicus and Shimazu, and explain they actually escaped from the Abyss of Darkness. Lavira put Shimazu in his place, and they reveal they're just here to try and aid them against the Rangers. They prove themselves with Shimazu turning people into cakes. Meanwhile, the pirates are at the beach, studying, but it's pretty clear to Orion that no one's actually doing it. And Donnie comically falls asleep while reading, and his inner tube gets taken out to sea, so Orion and Bailey go after it, as the rest get ice cream. But then they see what's going on, morph, and get into action. They actually have kind of a hard time, especially against Vexicus, even going RPM. And Dino Thunder having a beam struggle, and they still struggle. The rest show up, in which Shimazu opens up the Abyss of Darkness, sending the Prime Color pirates into it. Even Bailey and the nerds, as Vexicus grows giant. They struggle with just Orion's mech, but out of nowhere, Minizord arrives. Helping the pirates, Bailey's pretty confused about this, but then the three are introduced to the Ninja Storm Rangers in Cam. After the fangirling and Orion and Donnie explaining the Ninja Storm team for Cam, he agrees to locate their friends in the Abyss. In the meantime, they learn wind ninja techniques from the past Rangers. But then when Cam locates the others in the Abyss, the past Rangers use the Ranger keys to morph again and hop into the Abyss. The rest deal with the monsters, but they're very uncoordinated, being just the three of them. But eventually the legendary Rangers return with the pirates. Marvelous joking, he's been in worse places. Then we get a full team morph and roll call. Pirate Ranger set sail, Ninja Storm Ranger form. Even when tossing the wrong weapons, everyone gets a little bit of time to show off, with the Ninja Storm theme playing. Even Lavira and Snootus join the fight, for at least a little bit. Some shenanigans, and everyone combines their powers against Shimazu, and when he grows giant, Cam decides just to give Mini Zord to the pirates, forming the legendary Ninja Storm Megazord. Later, everyone's hanging out on the beach again, and Orion doesn't really get the concept of hanging out on a beach as he keeps trying to spear fish. Tori tries teaching him how to surf, which he's not really good at, with her joking, well, at least you're trying, unlike my husband. New villain, Sendin, who literally comes in with a business card explaining that he's from the Academy, saying that his talent agency can promote the Zanyak to Earth so they can conquer it using some nice propaganda. Literally rolling out a whiteboard with a plan, which puts Vakar to sleep. But Damaris is really intrigued. Meanwhile, at the state fair, the ranger teams are hanging out. Roy's kind of like whatever about it, but Orion's like, oh cool, this Earth culture. Him, Mia, and Robo Knight are really into the petting zoo. The rest enjoy some rides, and it turns out Jake has been going to these state fairs forever. I mean, just look at this photo of my mom. And revealing a little bit of a cameo, Gia thinks this is cute. Meanwhile, Sendin sends in the propaganda. Back at the fair, Invidious and Gorgax are there. Invidious is serving food, and Gorgax is here to repair some of the rides. But there are some really angry people protesting the fact that there are aliens here. The pirates come to their aid, but it turns out the people are more angry about the pirates who stole the past Power Ranger powers. I mean, what the heck? They try to explain, well, we took them in the first place, but we earned it later. That doesn't help at all, they say. As Sendin's beating up the supposed traitors, the Rangers come to their aid. They're fighting on the stage, and it's treated like a big stage show with everyone watching. And Donnie gets hit in the balls. Everyone goes in space and defeats the X-Borgs. They go, Ninja Storm, oh, they left. Sendin returns to the White Chariot, thinking it didn't work. It was the people cheering the Power Rangers. But it turns out the propaganda might just have, because the fair organizer refuses to pay the aliens. The pirates ask why not. I mean, Orion's not even human. With her saying, well, he's different. Look at him. He looks human. The others are just, since the 90s, aliens been invading. Why would I trust them? But the Zanyak returns, so the aliens and the lady have to hide in these tubes. During the fight, Senda shoots out a blast, which Invidious actually catches. The lady starts realizing, well, he jumped in front of me, so aliens are just like people. They have their own cares and wishes, and it was just my dumb prejudice that couldn't see this. She feels bad for her prejudice, and it turns out he's alive again. Joe yelling at him, he really needs to stop faking his death. Oh yeah, Senda's still here. Time Force, and they get him. Damaris is pretty upset it didn't work out, with Snootus laughing at him for his failure. Afterwards, it turns out Gorgax is now a repairman, and Invidious and the lady are now going steady. And the Rangers enjoy the Ferris wheel, until Gorgax now has to fix it. Damaris is getting really tired of Snootus trying to overtake him, thinking that he's going to get Vakar hurt, and demands that he shows his worth. With the Rangers, they're hanging out until suddenly Tommy arrives. He reveals the Morphing Masters have revealed that not when we first met, but right now, time's kind of confusing, but anyway, you're now worthy of the legendary Zeo, and then suddenly he gets jumped by a monkey with symbols, getting knocked back into the arms of a robot who puts a control collar on him and teleports him away to a pirate ship. Burton reveals it was all part of their plan. He summons a bunch of Ranger keys, and yes, Laura has her own. The Rangers have to deal with them. Damaris sighs in frustration, and Vakar's like clapping. Yes, Snootus actually gets resolves, unlike Damaris. If Emperor Dad wasn't mandating him be here, I would so replace him. Damaris questions what does he mean by that, and he's like, oh, nothing, I didn't say anything. Meanwhile, Snootus took the Master Morpher from Tommy. He's uploading info about it to the Zanyak, and he's trying to get Tommy to give them the legendary powers. But Tommy's able to grab the Master Morpher and turn Mighty Morphin white and free himself. going Turbo Red, knocking Snootus back to Earth, and finishing him off with Zeo Red, which gives the pirates an idea to go legendary Zeo. The Zeo theme plays as they defeat the rest of the Rangers. Vakar personally grows Snootus giant, and Tommy gives the pirates the original legendary Zeo Runner Zord, forming the legendary Zeo Megazord, taking out Snootus. But oh yeah, Burden's still there. He morphs and Orion thinks he can take him again, but it turns out that Burden's gotten a lot stronger as he breaks Orion's arm and just walks through everyone. Donnie tries using the bazooka against Burden, but he shoots a blast at them, destroying the bazooka. Demorphing them, Burden goes up to Marvelous, bragging that his powers were upgraded by finding a dark Zeo crystal, so now his powers increase every time he uses them. Revealing he also has Psycho Ranger keys that Lavira made, and he didn't even use them. So, unless you want me to use them, don't get in my way, as I find the greatest treasure in the universe. He demorphs, and we can see some black veins forming on him from the use of the dark energy. Lavira finally gets the opportunity to use the Reanimizer using some diamonds the X-Borg stole, resurrecting Turlin, and he mutates. Good enough. Orion still has a broken arm from last episode, but it's not getting him down, as Marvelous is absolutely frustrated about Burden. Him, Luca, and Joe are training really hard to get onto his level. Meanwhile, Donnie's trying to make a new version of the bazooka, like making a pirate blaster that has 2 key slots. Then he gets attacked, and Turlin's shells mutated to be even stronger. I mean, it can even withstand the Jacka cannon, or even Dynaman, or even the 2 blast. Donnie feels really dumb that he can't just fix it, and he tries calling Noah to ask how he did it, but the Mega Rangers are busy in Stone Canyon with another invasion. But his determination gets him through it and repairs it, pulling an all-nighter, and he falls asleep just as the monster's invading, so Orion has to wake him up. Not even Lightning Mask can go through the shield, not even Blitz, not even Jungle Fury. But eventually Donnie shows up with the Galleon Blaster, and finally it works. Megazords and even Orion decides to come in with one-handed driving. This is a tribute to Dino Thunder, specifically the episode Lost and Found in Translation. Donnie's trying to lift everyone's spirits because he found a show about them, something called Gokaiger, and they watch episode 29. Meanwhile, Vakar is sick and he decides to take a sick day and just watch an episode of Gokaiger instead. He really likes it at first until he sees himself being portrayed on the show. And he hates it. They're making him look like a dumb little brat who doesn't know what he's doing and leads an invasion because he wants to prove himself to his dad. Joe thinks it's kind of weird, but everyone else is kind of enjoying it. Even though for some reason they got a guy dubbing the Yellow Ranger. I mean, why is the Yellow Ranger a guy? And in this episode, we see a fly monster get shot at and chased by the pirates like this is a Benny Hill all over the Megazord. It's really silly, especially when, for some reason, the Pink Ranger gets a homemade cosplay costume. Like, what the heck? It's the beginning of Vakar's birth month, and he has a feast, and watches Power Rangers. He really likes this pig monster, and demands Lavira revive him. And does, and he also mutates, like Turlin. Vakar is not happy, but Pudgy Pig can still absorb everything, so Vakar has an idea. As Luca and the nerds are shopping, gets interrupted when the food market gets all their food taken by Pudgy Pig. They jump in and fight until everyone else shows up, and they go Wild Force. But also Pudgy can upchuck the food he absorbs, demorphing Orion, and he loses his morpher when Pudgy Pig reabsorbs the food. Orion feels super embarrassed that he lost his morpher like this. But Garvin is here to ensure him it's not just because of what he can turn into, but the ranger underneath the suit. And they go to get Japanese food until Pudgy Pig reemerges and he's starving out the whole planet by absorbing food one meal at a time. And we get some unmorphing fight from the two, but electricity also doesn't help. The pirates show up guns blazing, they morph and instantly go Jungle Fury because they're hitting Pudgy Pig's stomach enough so he can upchuck everything, including the morpher. It might be more than what you turn into, but if you turn into something really powerful, you should do that. So they go Mighty Morphin theme plays with the defeat Pudgy Pig, And then when they go Megazord, they just force feed him a bunch of clones of the mini sword until he has the mother of all tummy aches. And afterwards, everyone gets some pig rolls. Navi has a prediction. She's hopping, and it still hits her head. So it comes out all scrambled. Former friend, now enemy, his memory is on the line. Meanwhile, the Zangiak, the Emperor sent a specialist to look over the reanimizer for the special project, and it's revealed that he's also the same scientist that turned Sugra into Argus. And after he fixed the reanimizer, he plans to turn some human warriors into robots just like Sugra. The Rangers seen Cam getting abducted and taken to a warehouse, but unfortunately, because it's a Zangiak high official, he has some royal bruisers with him. Joe deals with Argus as the rest go Cat Ranger, Blue Centurion, Wolf Warrior, Magna Defender, and Sentinel Knight. Joe and Argus hit each other with solar slashes, blasting each other back, but then the scientist, after introducing, leaves. Cam thanks them for their help and sees that Joe was really struggling with that robot guy, but luckily Cam was able to scan him and has their blueprints, which Joe thinks this is wonderful because they can figure out a way to try and save Sugra. Just being really serious and mean about it, so Cam questions what's so important about him. So he just recaps Sugra's story.
The orange recolor.
I'm sorry to hear about his friend, but there's only so much he can do because it looks like this memory file was somewhat corrupted because he can still remember all of his moves, but really nothing about his memories. The scientist found some more people to experiment, but before he can try anything, the rest of the pirates arrive and go legendary Forever Blue. Just really pressuring Cam to try and uncorrupt it, but there's just nothing he can really do. He's sorry, but your friend might still be in there, but it's basically impossible to get in. Meanwhile, your actual friends are trying to save the world from this happening to others. This motivates Joe to find the rest of the team. Orion tries to help, but Marvelous realizes that Joe needs this. He just slaps away all the attacks the Doctor is sending at him, and for Sugra, he does a lunar slash. Then they fight the monster in the sunset. Joe's watching the moon and the crow's nest, saying that one day he will free Sugra. Back with the Zangiak, they finally got the reanimizer to properly work. But Sugra is staring down at the earth, seemingly starting to remember. Datus is getting a call, summoning all the Rangers, and it turns out that call is from Dr. K from the RPM dimension, who is experimenting on a new Zord, the Turbo Falcon Sword, using samples from the red and yellow Zord from RPM. But for some reason, the Turbo Falcon Sword just escaped into the morphing grid and they don't know where it is, so they need help to track it down. Marvelous says they can do this. But then suddenly, right next to Dr. K, Ziggy's there. It's like, oh cool, you guys talking across dimensions again? Donnie immediately notices Ziggy, and then Dr. K just pushes him away. Sorry about my husband. But Dr. K is also be sending them a little robot named Bumper to help them locate the Turbo Falcon. Just make sure nothing happens to Bumper because it gets lonely with Ziggy going on missions sometimes. Navi makes friends with them, and Dr. K reminds them they need to morph when they're going from the morphing grid or their bodies could crystallize. And there's still a 30% chance it will crystallize anyway. Wait, what? Ah! Meanwhile, the Zangiak resurrected Professor Cog. And hey, unlike the last two times, it actually came out alright. A little bit of shenanigans, and back with the Rangers. They eventually locate the Turbo Falcon, but it sees them and just drives the opposite way, so there's a big chase. They even send out the individual Zords for once after it. But eventually they get it by combining it with the legendary Pirate Megazord, forcing it back into reality, where some red beam of light comes out of it and affects Professor Cog, revealing that the reason why it went crazy is because it's actually Venjix, revealing that part of his consciousness was held within the cell shift morpher and was able to escape when Dr. K was making the Turbo Falcon Zord and tried just escaping somewhere into the morphing grid. And for the first time since the fall of the Machine Empire and destruction of Serpentera, he's finally in his home dimension. So he turns against the Zangiak.
Wow, these guys are strong! So why haven't they conquered this planet yet? Are they lame or just incompetent?
I'll make you eat those words!
But soon Venjix uses his virus powers to take over the X-Borg, so the Zangiak have to escape. The Rangers have to deal with them, and they go legendary RPM get in gear. The RPM theme plays. Eventually, they make the legendary RPM Megazord defeat Venjix, and we'll totally never ever see another fragment of him ever again. Vakar is upset they haven't defeated the Rangers yet, but he can't stay mad because it's his birthday. Damaris wishes him a happy birthday and says the Emperor gave him a present, this jester. Lavira reveals that the Emperor sent another gift, but we have to go in the back for that. Vakar is like, great, another jester for another year. Damaris pushed this jester down the incinerator. The rest of us, follow me when we see my next disappointment. But instead of doing that, Damaris sends the jester out to do a mission. 2 royal guards, yes they actually talk unlike the other foot soldiers, revealed the Emperor had built a personalized Vakar Megazord. Vakar is awestruck by it, Damaris entering the room, seeing it, and he has a flashback. Revealing that he was tasked by the Emperor, Mavro, the excellent voice of Jim Cummings, ordering Damaris to watch over his favorite son, Vakar. The eldest son, Vrock, left ahead of the invasion to try and prove himself, with Damaris' brother, Melkor. And he loves Vakar, he's his heir for a reason, despite being the youngest, but he's just not as strong as Vrak, and he needs someone to make sure he doesn't get hurt. So in modern times, Damaris forbids Vakar from entering the Megazord. Instead, he's going to send the Jester on a mission. With the pirates, they're having a picnic, enjoying the view and the breeze, until the clown appears, and he's kidnapping the president, planning on gift wrapping them for the prince. The pirates arrive and deal with this. Back with Vakar, he's looking over his Megazord. He thinks out loud that Emperor Dad wants someone else to pilot for him, but he just can't get this out of his head.
So why haven't they conquered this planet yet? Are they lame or just incompetent?
It's revealed that Vakar was overhearing the meeting with Damaris, but in Vakar's head it came out a lot different, with Mavros saying that his youngest son Vakar is a worthless, empty-headed blunderer, unlike his cooler older brother Vrak, who's way stronger and smarter and handsomer. I'm glad he's the eldest son and will inherit. I told Vakar that he's going to inherit over his brother, but I just did that so I can stop hearing that baby cry. Now I need you to make sure he doesn't cry across the galaxy and make the Empire look bad. Back in modern times, Argus finds Vakar. Vakar consoles that Argus is the only one he can trust after Snootus, and he needs his help actually activating the Megazord, launching it before anyone realizes he's gone. Damaris is scared, but it turns out the Vakar Megazord has all these crazy bells and whistles, and even a beam that takes out the legendary Megazord to the point where Marvelous has to hit the quick eject, sending everyone away as he tries flying away but crashes the ship. Vakar returns to the White Chariot, and Damaris welcomes him back with his favorite meals. You don't have to go out again. I'll pilot the Megazord for you. We even got your very favorite, expensive, hard-to-get juice. But Vakar doesn't care. He'll eat when he finally gets his pirates, and it looks like we're about to. Send teams to go find them. Donnie and the ladies landed together. Meanwhile, Joe's in a grassy field when he gets confronted by Argus. Joe admits that he doesn't want to fight Sugra, but Argus is clearly still not in the memorying phase. Marvelous was knocked out from the crash, and Navi tries waking him up, but Marvelous has a vision of Rufus talking to him, who encourages Marvelous to get back out there. It might be tough, but if you put all your thoughts and hearts together, you will be able to defeat Vakar. This makes him wake up, and Navi hugs him. Send a course to find the others. Aye aye, Captain. Back with Joe, he's fighting Argus, and he's clearly trying not to hurt him, but Argus is also not exactly trying not to hurt him. So he uses a solar slash, but Joe just knocks it away. Twice. And then a third time, he catches it, and it might force him to demorph, but he throws it right back at Argus. And he throws all of his frustration, love, and hate right into Argus. Afterwards, he collapses to his knees. Starts crying and hugs the body of Sugra, cursing himself that he was unable to save Sugra. But then Joe has a vision of Sugra's ghost, who's questioning why he's crying, because he was unable to save his best friend. But Sugra admits, "What do you mean? You did save me. I'm finally free from the Zangak. Now your other friends need you to save this world. Now go." Even Vakar's not taking this easy. First Snootus, now this. I'm gonna make those Rangers pay. Damaris tries stopping him, but Vakar is able to push him away, saying that, Damaris, you were relieved from duty and stripped of military honors. I don't care what my father hired you for. He leaves and locks the door behind him. The pirates all meet up, minus Marvelous. Damaris tries distracting them with the Jester, but Marvelous shows up, blasting them away using the Red Galleon. But then Damaris sends the Royal Guard and some more X-Borgs, so they have to take them out using their good stuff. A Power 6 Legendary Wave and a Red Wave. Vakar enters the Megazord, but then Damaris grows a Jester Giant, which Orion deals with them and some bruisers rather easily, just for Vakar to blow those up and deal with the Rangers. Not even the Mystic Dragon could deal with the Vakar Megazord. But Marvelous remembering what Rufus said to him, he tries getting everyone to focus on a new power, and eventually works, channeling into a new engine soul, combining the Turbo Falcon, the legendary Pirate Megazord, and the Q-Rex Megazord into the legendary Pirate Ultrazord, which is good enough to actually defeat the Vakar Megazord. And Vakar is panicking, freaking out, no, not on my birthday! The pirates celebrate a significant step forward to defeating the Zanyak, as Damaris combs through the ruins of the Vakar Megazord, finding Vakar. Despite being a full-body cyborg, you can tell he's trying to cry, saying that he failed his Emperor, he failed his duty, but most of all, he failed Vakar. The pirates are doing their thing. We see Joe and Orion playing catch. Even Navi gets in on the action, but they hit the ball a little too far, and they start bouncing across the room, hitting Marvelous in the eye. And we see on the newspaper Donnie's looking at the obituary for Vakar. On the White Chariot, Levira questions their next orders, but Damaris reveals it's been complete radio silence since last night. But then suddenly they're under attack. And wait, those are Imperial cruisers. They just committed desolation on our fleet. And then they hear a Royal Guard voice saying, "Make way for your Emperor!
He's here?
All hail his Imperial Magnificence, Emperor Mavro of the Zanyak." The Emperor mentions how much of an honor it is to be in the Emperor's sight yet again, and how great it is to see Grand Duke Yelzor and Grand Duke Redcar. What is your first order aboard the White Chariot, your Magnificence?
You will be flogged.
What? Silence! You were supposed to protect the prince and you failed!
Wait! Damaris won the prince! He tried to stop him!
Quiet! Not only did you not protect him, you watched him get destroyed!
And when we put it a resupply, God willing, you will be flogged some more. And then enslaved for the rest of your miserable lives. To the brink.
Sire! Please! Allow me to redeem myself!
He hangs a portrait of his favorite son and vows vengeance against the Rangers, sending Yelzor to go capture the Red Ranger, attacking with some Imperial cruisers. Meanwhile, Orion, Joe, and Bailey were out on another shopping spree, but Bailey seemingly recognizes Yelzor and immediately jumps in and attacks him. He's able just to smack her away, and the others try morphing and helping, but she refuses their help. Eventually, this doesn't really work out because Yelzor has a special eye that sends them both flying. Afterwards, they heal up, but Bailey doesn't want to talk about today. She goes to the crow nest to stare at the moon like everyone does. That night, she looks around the Regalian, remembering different events that the Rangers went through. She tearfully calls for everyone. Everyone gets dressed and shows up, and she finally reveals that her name is Bailey de Berry, daughter of Grand Duke of Miranoi, Henri de Berry. The others are surprised to find out that she was the daughter of the governor of Miranoi under the Zanyak, with Donnie realizing so that's where she gets all of her jewelry from. She tries to explain that Henri was actually very supportive of the rebellion, using much of his wealth to fund them. During the uprising on Miranoi, Yelzor was the one who found out about Henri's betrayal. He burned the estate and destroyed Bailey's family for betraying the Zanyak, escaping with the refugees to the Red Galleon, with the only remnants of her past life being a princess being what was left on her. She's so sorry that everyone had such worse lives because of the Zanyak and her family helped them out, and I'm not worthy of being a pirate with you guys. But Marvelous gives her a little head pat, and assures her that she's well proven that she's capable of being a pirate, no matter what your backstory is. That morning they go to deal with Yelzor, but Bailey holds back because she's still sad. So the team morphs and goes legendary Forever Pink to deal with the X-Borgs. But Yelzor's tail smacks them around. Bailey's watching them the entire time, and we see different clips from the past episodes, proving how much Bailey loves these guys. And some unique clips like her learning how to use the Pirate Blaster because of Marvelous, and Donnie accidentally flooding the Red Galleon with soapy water. So during this, Bailey hops in, morphing, stabbing Yelzor in the eye, using the distraction to final wave right into it, blasting him back, destroying the other eye. Her and Orion go RPM Gold and Silver. Her and Donnie go Thunder Ranger. Her and Luca go Megaforce Yellow and Pink. Her and Joe go Cat Ranger and Shadow Ranger. Her and Marvelous go Samurai Reds. Then eventually they finish Yellowzor off with a pink charge and a pink wave. After a Megazord fight, they relax next to the river, and Bailey's assured that they're more than just a crew, they're family. The Rangers take Orion to an Old West-style restaurant, which he thinks is really fun. And then suddenly, a bounty hunter approaches. At first, everyone thinks it's just part of the restaurant's gimmick, until he reveals that everyone's bounty went up, especially Marvelous, to unlimited rewards, dead or alive, preferably dead. So Marvelous and the bounty hunter decide to take this outside, and they do the whole, Western thing, draw, and then they shoot, and they both hit each other's blast. So the bounty hunter decides screw it and uses missiles. But the pirates ended up morphing SPD Emergency Omega Access and beat up the bounty hunter as SPD. They're walking back to the galleon until yet another bounty hunter is there. But this is different because Marvelous actually recognizes this guy as Mandrake. Because long ago, Mandrake used to be part of the Red Corsairs until he betrayed the team, seeing how much he could make on their bounties. Until Marvelous was rescued by a phantom stranger, leaving a big scar on their chest. Donnie joking, how many people have betrayed you? Luca hits him in the gut. They morph, but Mandrake is really strong. They use Bioman, and that's not enough, and they have original footage of In Space, and that's not even enough. So Gosei just teleports the pirates away to safety. Marvelous is upset with himself, but Gosei encourages him, and he's got someone to see them, the Phantom Ranger. Gosei goes human form and explains that he's yet another Morphing Master agent, as Marvelous recognizes him. The Phantom Ranger gives a pep talk about bravery and leadership, and actually leads the attack against Mandrake, which encourages Marvelous to head back out there. They deal with the X-Borgs, and then fight Mandrake, eventually leading to them to go Turbo. Orion thinks it's super cool, and he goes Phantom Ranger, and the two team up. They blow up Mandrake, but they only resurrect the original bounty hunter and deal with him. And a bunch of X-Borgs and Bruisers.
God, we go through soldiers here like copy paper.
Afterwards, they hang out with the Phantom Ranger, and he says, for pirates, you guys are pretty good. Keep up the good fight. Donnie and Orion ask for his autograph, but as soon as they get their papers, he disappeared. Then we see Burden flying his ship, and he sees the news. You could really use that. Unlimited reward. It's Christmas time. Orion didn't have Christmas on Andracia, so it's up to Luca to teach him what Christmas is by volunteering and giving out presents to kids, and decorating the town and all that Christmas stuff. Meanwhile, Redcar found a general that has the ability to use its magic wand and turn people into dolls. Orion really likes helping out, and these trees are really cool, but he's just still not understanding it. The generals arrive, so Luca starts blasting. The other pirates fly in, they fight, and they go Aquatar Ninja Alien Rangers. But when the generals get chased off, the organizer of the Christmas festival gives a little doll to Luca that looks like her. And the monsters might have wrecked the decorations, but she really appreciates what Orion and Luca is doing. Then Luca uses that doll to trick the general, and then wrestle away the wand, and then save everyone by turning them back to normal. Roll call, but then they get hit by the Royal Guards doing a code D strike, so everyone goes legendary forever yellow, and they fight. But then Orion demorphs back to base form and he starts understanding Christmas. It's a special time about getting together of all the people you love and staying warm in the darkest time of the year. And a good way to show their love is giving. Quick guys, give me the red and green key. They do so and he tries concentrating, jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle bells, and finally he gets the Pirate Christmas key. It's a Christmas miracle. And with it he's able to take down the monster. They grow big, yada yada, and then Luca makes it snow in Southern California using Mystic White, and they all celebrate Christmas. The episode begins with yet another invasion, but Donnie's having a kind of hard time of it because he falls into some boxes and then even trips and falls into the X-Borgs who are even laughing at him, and they're just robots. Then they go Legendary Jungle Fury and finish them off with some cannon. Ricard's very mad about this, but Levere keeps trying to tell them that they're underestimating the pirates. Ricard's like, whatever, they're just pirates, send me in there, Emperor, I can deal with them. But first they stop by to see Damaris in the cells. Ricard brags to Damaris that he's going to achieve the unlimited rewards from capturing Marvelous, and now it's time for your daily beating. Until Damaris just blows the door off the cells, revealing he's way stronger than he's been letting on. And he only stayed in the cells for his loyalty to the Emperor and to get penance for what he did to Vakar. He takes the wanted poster of Marvelous and heads out. Meanwhile, Luca found a magazine with a poster for a movie, and look, the guy looks just like Donnie as a warrior. Donnie does not take this super well, though, because he's always wanted to be a great warrior and learning about the past of Miranoi, but he just never lived up to it. Luca and Orion tries ensuring him, but he's just still not feeling it, so they try to have a day out with him. Meanwhile, Damaris finds Burden, just kind of doing his own thing, and he says he has a plan. So the pirates and the Mega team decide to try and cheer Donnie up by having a day out, and they go to like the arcade and water balloon fight or whatever, and just nothing's really going through Donnie. So Gia suggests a concert, and it's kind of appealing to Donnie until Damaris shows up. He flexes his strength by blowing up a building nearby. Everyone morphs and they fight, but it turns out Damaris is way stronger than they had any idea. And not helping is Burden is nearby and he morphed, and he uses his trumpet to summon the Psycho Rangers. Or at least all of them but the red one, because Burden's the red one. He just wipes the floor of everyone. Jake gets knocked away and Donnie tries protecting both Troy and Marvelous, as Burden uses his final wave to seemingly blow up the rest of the teams. Donnie gets up just to get smacked away from Damaris, who captures the Red Rangers. Donnie's incredibly upset, because now it's only the two of them. The Red Rangers wake up on the command ship. Mavro congratulates Damaris and gives him a full pardon. Ricard wants to instantly destroy the two Red Rangers, but Mavro has a better idea. With Jake and Donnie, they're on the Red Galleon, upset. But Donnie starts remembering different clips from the past episodes. And suddenly, on all the TV stations, the Zangiak broadcasts that they captured both Red Rangers, revealing the identity of Troy to the world. And they have them tied up, ready to get executed. So Jake, Donnie, and Navi have to come up with a plan to rush right in. Donnie goes Legendary Mystic Force, and they combine their powers, so Jake summons a rock, and Donnie captures it with some vines and swings it around the X-Borgs. And in the distraction, Navi shows up and frees the Red Rangers, flying them to safety. And it's revealed the other members of the teams are actually saved by Sally. And in that confusion, Burden comes out of nowhere and stabs Damaris in the back, literally, saying he's only worked with Zangiak to get the greatest treasure in the universe. And if anyone's gonna kill Marvelous, it's gonna be me. Everyone morphs, roll calls, and we get a legendary Forever Green. Fighting to take out the X-Borgs and the Royal Guards, but Damaris knocks them back to base form. So they hit him with a final wave, blast, and slash, and even a green wave. Orion goes Samurai Storm, and Donnie and Bailey go Thunderstorm and slash him, holding him in place when they use some more finishers on him. Burton jokes that's what Damrus gets for trusting me, and he makes his leave. As he grows giant, they use the legendary Zords on him. And afterwards, they all go to that concert Gia wanted to go, and Donnie's feeling a lot better. As Burton on his ship is feeling a lot worse, with purple veins, and he's coughing up something nasty using the powers of the dark side of the morphing grid. The Emperor's mad, but he just simply says to summon all the navy of the Empire to Earth. Navi predicts, uncover the mysterious ninja master to uncover the riches you're after. Donnie immediately knows what that means. It's gonna be Ninjor. Everyone thinks that's kind of weird, but Orion gets it, so they ask Gosei for directions to his secret palace, the Temple of Power. Meanwhile, the Zangak, the Emperor demands Lavira prove herself, so she goes and follows the Red Galleon. The Rangers find their way into the temple, and Marvelous finds the jar that Ninjor is hiding in, forcibly kicking him out. Ninjor gives them the whole why you here, why you want, and the pirates make their case for the greatest treasure in the universe, so they can free it from the Zangak. But Ninjor asks, why? Why would you think you're worthy enough to use the greatest treasure in the universe? I mean, you stole the Ranger keys. Revealing that Ninjor knows who the pirates are, they try explaining, well, we need the keys to save the universe, and we also need the greatest treasure. This goes back and forth until the Lavira Megazord's attacking. The pirates smack it down and have to fight Lavira on foot with a bunch of royal guards. They also captured Sally and her lovely new necklace. So Orion summons his Zord and does what he always does and fights some giant bruisers, as the rest of the team go legendary Tommy Oliver and turns into all of his past ranger forms to fight Lavira, and finishing her with a red wave to take Sally, who's clearly hurt, back to the Red Galleon to heal her up. The team's upset they're not able to get the powers from Ninjor, but they're happy that Sally's doing better. But later that morning, she seemingly stole the Ranger keys and ran away. They find her in the woods about to give the keys to Burton, and now Sally has to make a decision because, well, the Rangers treated her way better than Burton ever did. So yeah, she just gives the keys back to the pirates. Burton's like, figures. Even a space monkey needs to learn to stop trusting me. He takes the thing out of his pocket, pushing it, and it turns out Sally's new necklace is a bomb. Marvelous tries pulling the bomb off of Sally, but she just ends up pushing Marvelous away for his own safety. Everyone else morphs, and the pirates go Ninja Storm, and even Lost Galaxy, and even Orion using Mighty Morphin White and Zeo Gold, but Burton, even without the Psycho Rangers, just walks through everyone. Meanwhile, Marvelous wakes up in the woods, and he's still holding a piece of Sally's necklace. In a threatening call, Burton reveals he knows the ninja has the greatest treasure, and he's about to execute his crew. So Marvelous has to hightail it, guns blazing, screaming Burton, but he also has X-Borgs that push him into a nearby warehouse, so Marvelous goes legendary every Red Ranger to fight off the X-Borgs, while also showing his knowledge of every Power Ranger, thanks to Donnie and the rest of his crew. Eventually gain the pirate, and the two cause explosions and leap at each other and have their final duel, with Burton legendary changing to Let's Go Psycho, Psycho Red, but Marvelous puts his foot down on Burton's, and he uses Burton's saber to stab through both of their feet. Marvelous stating, I'm done, Burton, we end this now. They both charge up legendary final waves and hit each other point blank, blowing each other up. The episode begins with a big recap of the pirate stories that were told in the past episodes, while expanding on it by showing what happened after Marvelous delivered the refugees from Miranoi to KO-35, where Marvelous met with his old friend Andros, and he agreed to take on the refugees. KO-35 is one of the safest places in the galaxy. But Marvelous, before any of the refugees go, he states, anyone who wants to stay back, find the greatest treasure in the universe, and stop the Zangak is allowed to stay. And half the crew just leaves. But Bailey's there, and she has a very similar speech to Boom in SPD, stating that she's staying for a better tomorrow. This led to all the pirates meeting, and of course we get the recap of the beginning of the whole series, further expanding of the pirates discovering the command base, going in and stealing the Ranger keys. Gosei's missing from his normal spot as the Rangers are smashing the glasses and taking the Ranger keys. Donnie leans into the area that Gosei's usually at, and he touches the ground, which sends him flying, crashing into Jake's monitor. It fries his hair all sticking up, and he's like, cool, I know who these Rangers are. As Marvelous in the same area discovers the chest, and inside is the legendary Morphers, and it's revealed that Donnie was the one that grabbed the Mighty Morphin Red Ranger key. In present time, right after Bird and Marvelous blew each other up, Burnham's the first one to lean up, all panting and bleeding out the mouth. But Marvelous also gets up, and it's revealed that the blast was actually stopped by the piece of Sally's necklace. Burden's like, ironic, I can't even trust my own skills. He collapses, and he burns away into negative energy, which also destroys the Psycho keys and his key. Donnie takes his trumpet, and Marvelous states that now Burnham's part of the Dark Morphing Grid, and he collapses. The next day, Marvelous wakes up, and Navi's excited to state that he's alive, but Marvelous realizes there's something different. The Ninja appears on the Red Galleon, revealing to the pirates that they have completely proved themselves worthy. By proving that you would blow yourself up for your team, you have proven your selflessness. Navi gets prediction, but then Ninja just grabs her before she's able to hit her head, stating the greatest treasure in the universe is hidden where the adventure first began. Then comedically just tosses her away like a can. But Donnie says we can't go all the way back to Miranoi. Ninja stating not that beginning, the beginning of Rangers, or at least on this planet. And to get there really quick, he uses his magic powers to turn Navi into a door, unlocking it with the Ranger keys, heading in, and there it is, the greatest treasure in the universe. They grab it, heading out the door, reappearing in the command base, and Navi reappears with them. Gosei revealing that they must have gotten it from Zordon's old command center. And Ninja reveals that the greatest treasure in the universe is a wish. It can be anything at all, and everyone's really excited and states that they can use this to wish the Zangiak never formed. But Ninja reveals there's a drawback. If we use it, then it will siphon up all the Morphing Grid energy in this dimension, completely severing it forever. Not even the Ranger keys can bypass it. Well, now everyone's in a pickle because, well, they can wish the Zangiak never existed, but without the Morphing Grid, there'll be no Power Rangers to stop anything that would take its place after, so... With the Zangiak, Redcar reveals a new, very powerful energy signature on their detectors, which Mavro realizes is the greatest treasure and launches the invasion. And I don't mean the normally very large invasion, I mean they blanket the sky in Imperial and normal Zangiak cruisers. They blast a little and everyone comes outside to witness. Even the White Chariot comes into orbit and it projects Mavro giving a speech stating that they gave Earth time. They gave them more leeway than most other planets, and in return they destroyed his son Vakar. That means this planet has no choice but to give up the greatest treasure in the universe or it will be demolished. The fleet starts attacking, and we see the Astro Megaship trying to break the blockade, taking out some Imperial ships, and it's revealed to be piloted by both Andros and Zane, in space Silver and Red Ranger. Noah's stuck under a girder that Jake tries helping him out of, but then Carter and Dana, the Lightspeed Red and Pink Ranger, help him out. Leo and Michael save a family and their dog. Cassie and TJ, the in-space Pink and Blue Rangers, save some people from an elevator. The car is about to fall off a bridge, but then suddenly Tommy appears, helping the parents out, and in a very Amazing Spider-Man way, he helps the kid out by letting him wear the Mighty Morphin White Ranger helmet and grab onto Saba. Robonite is saving a village in Africa. Cole and Casey save a zoo. Wes and Eric are taking out X-Borgs. Chip's at a hospital comforting people by giving them Mystic Force plushies. Justin saves some people stuck in a Krispy Kreme, and he takes some donuts for himself. Ethan's in his office saying that Dr. Billy is making sure the systems are fully operational, hitting a button activating some Pacific Rim-style vaults that civilians get to stay in. Trent helps people get to the vaults, as well as the mecha team. The pirates agree to hold off on using the treasure for at least now to go save people. Everyone's in a lot of despair about the invasion, but a kid tries comforting her mom, saying that, well, the Power Rangers will save us. But then Redcar heard them and says, think again! The Zangiak are here, and if we don't get the greatest treasure in the universe from those stinking pirates, we'll execute you. And even after we get the treasure, we'll still destroy this planet. Ha 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 ha! But then suddenly the first wave of X-Borgs get destroyed, and we see that Orion's carrying the pirate's banner, and the pirates stand above the crowd. In a very countdown to final destruction way, they morph in front of everyone, and says the Mega Ranger line of Earth Defenders never surrender. Picking up from right at the end of the last episodes, the pirates fight. Marvelous turning Mighty Morphin red with the Dragon Shield to defeat the Royal Guards. This ends up inspiring a lot of the civilians to take up arms against the Zangiak. The pirates come up with a plan. Orion and Marvelous sneak off and uses Bird and Ship to sneak into the Zangiak. Meanwhile, everyone else stays behind. It goes south quick because Bird and Ship gets shot and crashes right into the White Chariot. So now Marvelous and Orion have to fight their way through the ship, finding Mavro, who is so unimpressed he's gonna sit down.
This is for my planet!
Turns out he's right, he's really strong, he doesn't have to stand for this.
Now do you understand why I rule an empire while you are inept fools?
But Orion goes gold mode, which gets the Emperor to back off, so Marvelous activates the White Chariot's cannons and starts firing them willy-nilly. Redcar gets confused enough, so Joe turns Shadow Ranger and the rest go the Extra Rangers. No, it is not weird at all seeing Donnie turn into the Sentinel Sword. And then they hit Redcar, it might be Demorph, but they still hit him with a blue wave. Everyone gets pushed to the front of the bridge, so Marvelous and Orion know what to do. They charge up their finishers and shoot the console, causing the White Chariot to crash. Everyone thinks they went down with the ship, but they're fine. Well, until the entire might of the Zangiak army is right around the corner. There's like a bajillion of them, there's no way they can stop them from getting the treasure. Until they start hearing archival audio of the past Rangers morphing, and they start appearing. And then a whole bunch of them appear out of big portals from all different timelines and dimensions and past and future and whatnot. And how are these portals opened? Well, the reasons. Who's also probably behind enchanting Navi to have future predictions. And they approach the Mega Team and the pirates and all the actors we can get our hands on, take their helmets off, and we recognize a bunch of them from even throughout the season. Tommy says they're here to help, while Cassie says they're completely worthy of the legendary powers of the Power Rangers, and they come up with a plan. The legendary Rangers will stay behind and fight the Zangiak army, the pirates will sneak around to deal with the Emperor, who probably also survived the crash. Orion and Roy will head back to the Command Center to guard the greatest treasure in the universe, while the rest of the Mega Team is going to be in front of the legendary Ranger army. They ready, and they charge, beginning the actual legendary battle. Everyone gets a little bit of time to shine with clips used from everywhere, even throw in some unused footage from past episodes, to give some specific Rangers a little more time to shine in the action. Even Ninjor is there. Even a little bit of original footage, like Mike the Samurai Green Ranger having a hard time dealing with a bunch of X-Borgs until Tommy hops in and saves him, saying, hey, let me help you with that. And he gives him the Dragon Shield, and he's full of energy now. At the Command Center, Gosei says, are you sure you want to do this? And Orion says, no, grabbing his Trident Blaster, but I am sure I have to do this. The rest of the pirates get smacked around by the Emperor, who demorphs them. Suddenly, Orion says, hey, you want the greatest treasure? Then have it. And he tosses it at Mavro, and everyone's like, what? What are you doing? And he's like, yes. And he orders over comms to launch a special project to go with this. But as it's in the air, he charges up his Trident Blaster, shooting the greatest treasure in the universe, destroying it, causing a Z-wave that takes out the entirety of the fleet of the Zangiak. Mavros is like, what? Who do you think you are? And we get a full roll call morph and a big colorful explosion, like Orion always wanted. Marvelous orders, hit him before he has time to respond, so they hit him with just about every Ranger they could think of at the time, leading to some interesting combos, Like the ladies using goggle and supersonics ribbons to hold Mavro in place as the guys use the turbo and RPM keys to run past him really fast. And him with pterodactyl power, brotherly fire, Omega Punch, some Zeo power, then legendary Battleizer. Running right through the Emperor, and then it goes Super Ranger! Eventually Orion hits him with a legendary crash, splitting his sword in half. Everyone combines their finishing moves and makes a legendary shooting splash. Then Orion uses the pirate bazooka, stabbing it right into the Emperor, and hitting him with a silver wave! Tossing him back, everyone thinks they got him, but he's still not done, as that special project finally lands. The Zangiak Megazord. Everyone in the confusion misses Mavro jumping into it, very Dino Thunder style. It's so big and evil, the Z-Wave didn't do anything to it, and just as the civilians thought it was safe to come out, they have to run back into the vaults. Mavro boasting, thanks to the power of Davy Jones, this planet will be destroyed. The Rangers hop in their Megazords, but they just get, knocked back. Robo Knight tries charging the mech just to get smacked back into his Ranger form. All the adults in the vaults are being very pessimistic about their options, but that kid from the Mountain episode says they shouldn't give up. Being in front of everyone saying that we shouldn't give up, the Rangers aren't. They're completely outmatched by that monster. As long as we can continue to dream of a better tomorrow, our imagination will take us to wonderful places rather than just giving up on it and getting nowhere. All the other kids in the vault starts cheering on the Power Rangers as they're not doing super well. Mr. Burley's the first adult to start cheering on the Power Rangers with the kids, followed by Uncle Hector. Starts inspiring the rest of the vault to start cheering. Across the world, everyone is cheering for the Power Rangers. And a big light starts appearing in the sky, collecting all the Z energy in the sky, and suddenly, bam! Every Power Ranger Megazord fully operational. It's amazing. It's a miracle. The greatest miracle in Earth's history. Rufus and the Master Red ship and Garvin and the Space Ace lead the first attack. But Mavro uses the power of Davy Jones to resurrect more monsters. And hey, apparently he did care about Vrak, or at least enough to use him in a fight, leading to the legendary Megazord battle, which is one of the coolest things ever. They put the generals back in the ground, and Marvelous unlocks the Master Red Ranger key, which leads to the legendary Pirate Megazord to combine with the Red Master ship, creating the legendary Power Ranger Megazord, finishing them off with a legendary Power Ranger wave, cutting the Zangiak Megazord in half as well as the Emperor. The whole world rejoices, there's rainbows and happiness in the world, and Tommy says the pirates are truly legendary Rangers. And then everyone awkwardly heads home, with Tommy making sure to get back to Dragon Shield. The pirates and the Mega Team collapses and laughs on the beach. But Noah asks the question, well, what now? And Donnie very smartly states, well, the Zangiak are gone, so we're going to head back out in space and defeat any warlord that comes in our way and make sure that every planet is liberated, starting with Miranoi. Troy asks if they're going to ever see the pirates again, and Marvelous states they will. He'll make sure of it. Marvelous takes out his pirate saber and stabs it into the ground right next to his bionic foot. Everyone's kind of like, what? But then Marvelous starts chuckling about it and everyone laughs with him. Later, Orion gives all the Mega Team friendship flowers, a cultural thing for him, and he'll miss Emma the most. Robo Knight and Roy are tied at second, and they do a weird friendship handshake. Marvelous fashions a new necklace out of that piece of Sally's necklace that saved his life, and the Pirate Rangers head on to the Red Galleon. They wave goodbye to all the people they saved. We see a bunch of the people throughout the series waving back at them. Marvelous noticing the Red Master Ranger standing on the front of the ship, and they give a little nod of approval. He says, "Adios, Dad." As he disappears into the morphing grid, the Pirate Rangers set sail for their next adventure. Dap Go Buster versus Gokaiger, and something else. We open with Scrozzle in prison until Captain Chaku just lets him go. Meanwhile, this is set after Beast Morphers, so Devin is the commander of Grid Battle Force. They hired some new people like Jailza for defense and Steve of Triforia.
I'm gonna give you the good, I'm gonna give you the bad, and I'm gonna give you the nerdy.
Who's gonna help Nate create some new Rangers. Steve's already helped create a new B-Spot out of spare parts named Croaker. We'll also see like an Orange Ranger helmet. No one's gonna become them, it's just a tribute. But this is cut short because the facility's under attack. The Rangers head in. They meet the two main antagonists, nephews of Emperor Mavro, cousins of Akar and What's-His-Face, co-emperors of the new Zangak, Marvac and Veyron. Veyron's good with a sword, but Marvac is more good with his brain, especially because he's always chugging down some of his root beer. They introduce themselves, say they ain't got a chance, but they also reveal a big twist, that the Pirate Rangers are working for them and are dressed like stereotypical pirates. What gives? They morph and fight the Grid Battle Force. They and Steel defeat Orion, who seemingly starts sparking when he demorphs. What? But there's no time to question because they gotta go in their Megazord and deal with giant bruisers. As the rest meet up, the pirates go Atlantis Ranger and uses their tassels to electrocute the rest. Then they go Time Force and hit them with their finishers, so GB team power up, but the pirates hear about Orion and escape. Navi flies in asking for help from the Grid Battle Force, then they capture her. It really wasn't necessary because they explain what happened, explaining that the pirates for the last 6 years have been fighting remnants of the Zangak and they finally made it to their capital of Zang. But then they were surprise attacked by Captain Chaku from behind, causing the Red Galleon to crash. They were surprised and were ambushed by Zangak forces, and captured by Captain Chaku, replaced by robots. And Navi hid away on the repaired Red Galleon to try and find any Rangers that could help. Zoe immediately recognizes that's kind of the same thing that happened to Blaze and Roxy being replaced by robots, and questions why Captain Chaku would turn on the pirates. And Nate remembers they took out the robot Orion. Steel, still being new to being human, kind of questions the internal organs of a human compared to a robot. What do you mean humans don't typically spark when they're hurt? But Nate says he'll explain later, and Navi has to explain about the pirates. Navi quickly explains the events of Pirate Armada and the Ranger Keys, saying that the pirates are being held on Earth because the Zangak plan to blow up the Earth. And Devin knows just how to do this. Meanwhile, Scrozzle's with the new Zangak, and they don't really care about the Uncle Emperor or Vakar. They're here because they want to destroy the planet for destroying their empire. And of course, Scrozzle was the one that built the pirate robots, and he's even rebuilt the Reanimizer, resurrecting Roboblaze. They're quickly joined by Captain Chaku, who takes off his helmet, revealing he's a new cyborg named Maku. Roboblaze questions who he is, and he explains that he's the new Captain Chaku, explaining that he's helping the Zangak because he's going to make a load of money because of them. Especially because him and Marvac hired someone to be an inside guy at Grid Battle Force to send them all the Morphex, before they used some of it to blow up the planet. Meanwhile, the actual pirates are in prison, and like Donnie somehow had a harmonica snuck in, until Marvelous takes it and tosses it out of the cell. Which Donnie yells at him, "Why are you so upset? I know we're in jail, but I'm at least trying to make people happy." So Marvelous explains he's upset because Captain Chaku was the one to capture them. Back when he was a kid, the Red Corsairs were attacking a cargo ship for the Zangak, but the bomb went off way too early and he was separated from the rest of the crew. And who was there to rescue him? Captain Chaku. He was the one who was actually there to catch him when he fell, and assured him that everything's going to be okay, returning him to the Red Corsairs, saying that they're doing a good job. Donnie apologizes and just turtles in a corner, until a totally not familiar face and a totally real beard arrives, and he sneaks a legendary morpher and the silver legendary morpher into the cell, saying sorry, the rest are still occupied, you'll get your original ones back very soon. Everyone's like, huh? What the? And it turns out it was actually Tyler, the Diamond Charge Ranger, who was sent here by Grid Battle Force to rescue them. He lets them out of their cells and breaks their handcuffs. They try sneaking out, but they walk past a bunch of other people in prison, and they try grabbing at them and yelling, "Come on, I'm innocent, I didn't do anything, the Zangak are full of it, come on. I did do wrong, but I don't want to be here either." All the noise alerts an X-Borg, who hits the alarm. So Tyler uses his Dino Charge blaster to hit a thing, which allows all the cells to be open, causing a prison break, which Tyler gets swept up in. Meanwhile, the Grid Battle Force found the Robo-Pirates and fight, retrieving the Ranger keys and the legendary Morphers, sending them over the Morphing Grid to the rest of the pirates. The pirates get their stuff just in time as X-Borgs arrive, before they were able to escape. Joe and Orion stay behind as RPM Blue and Gold. Meanwhile, outside, Tyler's there and he morphed, distracting the guards outside until, where's the rest of the team? He told them to wait out here. Whatever, so he has to fight them by himself, push them into a warehouse until there's the rest of the Dino Charge team, or at least the main five. They fight as the Dino Charge theme starts playing and they defeat Veyron. Meanwhile, Jailza is turning up the Grid Battle Force's Morphex towers and he tries sneaking into the Ranger Vault, until Croaker sees this and starts yelling and alerting everyone. Ben, Betty, Roxy, and Blaze find out and try fighting off Jailza, alerting the rest of the team. With the pirates, they open a door into a pocket dimension created by Scrozzle, who also resurrected the Parasite twins. So Donnie goes Wild Force Black, and Luca goes Ninja Storm Yellow. Marvelous and Bailey escape, but go into a different pocket dimension through a different door, having to deal with the Messenger, going Megaforce, and then they also have to deal with Bluefur and Melkor. But Marvelous manages to get back to the door and escape, finding where Captain Chaku's held, finding out about Maka, who manages to retrieve a bunch of Morvex that Jailzo was able to send over, and he mutates his armor. So Marvelous and him fight. He manages to ricochet some shots that free Chaku, who leaps, and Marvelous repays the favor and catches him, ensuring Chaku that it's gonna be okay, as he aims a blaster towards his metal foot and he starts shooting a circle around them, which breaks a hole into the pocket dimension, which starts a chain of the rest of the pirates doing the same. They all hop down with their grappling hooks, meeting up, and so that the Zangak don't follow them the same way, Orion takes out the bazooka and loads a silver charge and a silver wave. Navi arrives driving the Red Galleon with the Grid Battle Force Rangers inside. Scrozzle and Roboblaze see this crawling out of the rubble, and Scrozzle immediately books it out of there. So Blaze summons the henchman.
It's morphin' time!
Pirate Ranger, set sail! Activate beast powers! Everyone morphs, and there's a roll call, and they team up, and Chaku decides to come out of retirement, and he morphs, fighting with the pirates in the GEB, until Marvac shows up, and he's about to show them a piece of his mind until Roboblaze shows the Reatomizer, resurrecting Robo-Roxy, Burden, and powered up Ripcon. The pirates go to deal with Burden, but he gets smacked away as well as having to deal with powered up Ripcon. So the pirates use Legendary Ranger mode, Ninja Steel Ranger Reveal, as the Grid Rangers deal with Burden, until the pirates tag back in and go Legendary Forever Black, taking out Burden, as the Grid Battle team takes on Robo-Roxy. Maku and Chaku deal with each other. A Robo-Blaze is still there, and Normal Blaze is sick of seeing his face being copied for evil, revealing that Steve finished their Morphers, so they become the Grid Battle Force Pink, Green, and Black Ranger. Jailza breaks out of his binds and fights the pirates with his multiple arms, but they manage to fight back using Forever Pink, Forever White, and of course the inevitable Forever Red. Everyone meets back up, and Steel, being Steel, thinks he can take on Marvac, which doesn't go well, especially because Jailza gets back up, and it turns out he got his own Megazord, worth every penny from Broodween. So the Grid team have to go and deal with that, as the pirates stay behind to deal with Marvac, and they go, Hyperforce, ready, power up, showing physical suits to the Hyperforce team. Probably not in the same order this should be, but whatever. Because they still use old reliable Legendary Dream and a Red Wave. But Marvac chugs some of his root beer and he burps his way into being giant, saying that he loves Zombat root beer. Chaku wins, and then they summon all the Zords, but they're not doing super well. So Blaze summons the Beast X King, and Betty launched their new Frog Zord. Nate is very pleased seeing that it might still be a prototype, but it's working wonders. Him and Steve are going places. Betty helps takes out some bruisers, And Steve also reveals during this time he made some Ranger keys, sending them over and they're based off the Beast Bots. Activating the keys sends Megazord Ranger keys to everyone, so they use them. Going by Morphing Megazord, Wild Force Megazord, Jungle Pride Megazord, Drive Max Megazord, and Mystic Force Megazord. Orion's just bouncing in his seat because this is super cool. Some past Beast Morpher mechs get resurrected, and it does become super awesome seeing all these different Megazords teaming up. Even Orion gets another one going Thunder Dragon, even some of the Red Lion to take out Marvac. And the Zangiak have finally been defeated. Maku gets captured by the rest of the metal heroes like Jiraiya. Shaku greatly apologizes for him and promises that he'll find a better replacement. Maybe his best friend Gavin. The pirates apologize to the Grid team apologizes to the pirates, but before they can really do anything, it turns out Donnie, Steel, and Orion become besties. And they come up with a way to celebrate the final defeat of the Zangiak by watching Super Sentai. And then they watch footage from not just Go Buster, but Dubusu Sentai Go Buster. And it's like a montage of the episodes. And it's like super weird and different. Like, Nate's this cool cowboy type. Nate really likes that, but he really does not like that they made Devin and Zoe's character like each other. And she's like, aw, like hugging him, ensuring that it's okay, kissing him. Betty's weirded out that they made the Green Ranger a hippo and a dude. But Donnie says, well, this came out before you got your powers. Roxy's really into her counterpart. And Blaze is kind of embarrassed by his. After all of that, Ben becomes head of security at Grid Battle Force. Steve also made some Ranger keys for Grid Battle Force. They continue doing hybrid energy of Morphex and green energy. The pirates say their goodbyes and head off into their next adventure. But then someone takes the reanimizer hiding in the shadows before the cleanup crew can take care of it. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe.